Chapter 1447. Tang, whose death infuriated the Tang clan. The Tang clan was a middle-class clan in the ancient city of Chaos. But such a middle-class clan couldn't be underestimated. They were extremely strong. In a place like the ancient city of Chaos, if you weren't ruthless, you wouldn't be able to gain a foothold. Therefore, after learning that Tang, who had been killed, the Tang clan immediately dispatched experts to kill Lin Feng. The poisonous rose, the ancestor of all poisons, was the only way to save the Tang clan's face. It wasn't difficult for the Tang clan to find Lin Feng and the others. When the experts of the Tang clan arrived, the ancestor of all poisons personally went to deal with them. The ancestor of all poisons was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He had suppressed his cultivation level to a very low level, but his fighting strength was unimaginable. How could the Tang clan be a match for him? The experts who had come were all killed by the ancestor of all poisons. After that, the ancestor of all poisons personally went to the Tang clan. The Tang clan dispatched all their experts, but they still weren't a match for the ancestor of all poisons. In the end, more than half of the Tang clan's experts were killed by the ancestor of all poisons. The others surrendered, and the ancestor of all poisons spared their lives. After that, the ancestor of all poisons looted the Tang clan's treasury. Many people who were watching the show were dumbstruck. They hadn't thought that the ancestor of all poisons would be so strong. Tang, who provoked someone he couldn't afford to provoke. Now, the Tang clan has suffered a calamity. So many of their experts have died. They'll definitely be replaced by other influential groups. That guy was definitely hiding his strength. He's really sinister. The entire Tang clan has been killed because of him. Luckily, Tang, who was the one who attacked first. If we had attacked, we would have been the ones to die. Many people started discussing spiritedly. Of course, this was just a small matter for the ancestor of all poisons. Even in the ancient city of Chaos, it wasn't a big deal. As time passed, the ancient city of Chaos became more and more lively. More and more cultivators entered the ancient city of Chaos. They had all come for the spirit-transforming fruit. The spirit-transforming fruit. It was a precious treasure that could help cultivators break through to the God layer. Of course, countless people would go crazy for it. Lin Feng went into seclusion for more than half a month to comprehend the great poison art. Lin Feng finally succeeded in comprehending this unparalleled divine ability. Now that Lin Feng had cultivated the great poison art to the minor completion stage, the next step would be to slowly perfect it. He would strive to cultivate the great poison art to the major completion stage, or even the great perfection stage. Seeing Lin Feng emerge from his closed-door cultivation, Poison Rose came looking for Lin Feng. She viciously asked, "What do I have to do for you to let me go? While I was in seclusion, you should have contacted your Poison Rose mercenary group, right?" Lin Feng chuckled. Poison Rose replied, "So what if I am?" Lin Feng pinched Poison Rose's snow-white chin and said, "That's good. Help me do something. And after it's done, I'll return your freedom." "What is it?" Poison Rose asked. "You've been in the Poison Fog Forest for a long time. You should have connections in the ancient city of Chaos, right?" Lin Feng said. Poison Rose nodded. "Of course. What about the auction house?" Lin Feng asked. "Yes." Poison Rose nodded. "The person who auctioned the God transformation fruit will definitely go to the auction house to get his commission back. When that person shows up, inform me," Lin Feng said. Poison Rose sneered and said, "You're making things difficult for us. The auction house has its own rules and reputation. We will never sell out the identity of the person who put the item up for auction. If the auction house did that, and word got out, then the auction house's business would be over." Lin Feng's right hand gently slid across Poison Rose's neck, chest, waist, and finally he placed his hand on her perky, but he was very close to her. So he looked at her and said, "Whether you can do it or not, that's your problem, not mine. If you can't do it, I'll have a pretty maid by my side. I'm quite interested in you." Pervert. Poison Rose pushed Lin Feng away and glared fiercely at Lin Feng, then walked out. Before leaving Lin Feng's room, Poison Rose said, "I don't know when that person will come, but just wait for my news." Lin Feng smiled. "Then I hope we have a pleasant cooperation." The highly anticipated auction finally began. Many strong cultivators had gathered on this day. Lin Feng, Poison Rose, and the ancestor of all poisons entered the auction house. They spent a lot of money to book a private room and waited patiently for the auction to begin. Qinwu people Jin Wushu has arrived. Poison Region's young master Mu Jiuzhou has arrived. Southern Wasteland's young master Dongfang Zhouge has arrived. Many important people had come, and many of them had come from noble backgrounds. Many of the region leaders' sons had come, and it was obvious that they wanted the God transformation fruit as well. Breaking through to the God realm was too difficult, and the God transformation fruit was a shortcut. It seems like the competition will be fierce. You want the God transformation fruit. Do you have enough money? Maybe we can sign a contract, and I'll lend it to you. Poison Rose looked at Lin Feng with a smile that did not seem like a smile. Loan. Lin Feng pursed his lips. For a region leader like you, it's not much. You rule over a region and amass wealth without restraint. Isn't it easy for you to pay it back? Poison Rose smiled. Lin Feng said, "With that little money of yours, it's just my pocket money. Keep bragging." Poison Rose pouted. Poison Rose's mouth twitched. She obviously didn't believe Lin Feng. Poison Rose had been killing people and robbing people all these years, and her wealth had piled up like a mountain. Lin Feng was the ruler of a region, but the Longmen region had only been established recently. It was too late for him to amass wealth. Lin Feng did not explain anything. He was waiting for the auction to begin. Dong, dong, dong. Then 3 bells rang out. The auction had begun. The auctioneers were an old man and a beautiful woman. The old man cupped his fists and smiled. "I am the auctioneer of the ancient Chaos City's auction house, Zongjing Mochi. This is my partner, Nangong Tianqing. The two of us will be in charge of this auction. The bidding price for each item must be at least 100,000 gold coins. Next, we will be auctioning the first item." As soon as the old man finished speaking, a servant girl walked over with a tray. The beautiful woman opened the brocade on the tray, and everyone saw that there was a porcelain bottle on the tray. "Everyone, this is a worm egg. It's a famous ancient worm, the egg of an immemorial ancestor worm," the beautiful woman said with a smile. "What? An immemorial ancestor worm? One of the 10 great ancient worms, the egg of an immemorial ancestor worm?" As soon as the beautiful woman finished speaking, the entire auction house burst into an uproar. The 10 great ancient worms were all heaven-defying. It was said that an adult immemorial ancestor worm would feed on gods. Some of the strongest immemorial ancestor worms could even hunt giant gods and quasi-emperors. Chapter 1448. They even have an egg of an Archean insect. This auction house isn't simple at all. Lin Feng rubbed his chin. The first item was a good start, so all the items were precious treasures. One could tell how powerful the auction house was by looking at the first item. The leader of the Chaos Zone is behind this auction house. "Of course it's not simple," said Poison Rose. Of course, it's not simple." Lin Feng's heart shook. "It seems like you have a deep relationship with the leader of the Chaos Zone." Poison Rose smiled coldly. "I have nothing to do with him." "Liar!" Lin Feng pursed his lips. Since the auction house is a subordinate of the Chaos Zone's leader, it won't be easy for him to plant his own people in the auction house. Since you were able to help me find out who the auctioneer was, it means that you have people in the upper echelons of the auction house. Even if they're not your people, they should be someone you know. The upper echelons of the auction house are important, so they should be trusted by the leader of the Chaos Zone. Since they dared to risk damaging the reputation of the auction house by telling you the identity of the auctioneer, your relationship with him is suspicious. Your Poison Rose mercenary group has been active in the Poison Fog Forest for a long time, and they've been safe and sound. There's a saying that goes, "How can a stranger sleep in a bed?" The leader of the Chaos Zone hasn't done anything to you yet, which means he doesn't want to do anything to you. Combining these two reasons, you must be related to the leader of the Chaos Zone. As for your relationship, it's easy to guess. You're either a relative or a woman of the leader of the Zone of Chaos. Since you're still a virgin, it means that you're not his woman, so you can only be a relative. The leader of the Zone of Chaos tolerated you setting up a mercenary group in his territory, killing people and robbing people, which means that you're not an ordinary relative. Therefore, you're most likely his daughter. When I mentioned the leader of the Zone of Chaos, your attitude was very cold. So I guess you don't have a good relationship with him. Poison Rose looked at Lin Feng as if he were a monster. The more she talked to Lin Feng, the more shocked she was. Lin Feng was young, strong, and proficient in formations. He was also wise and farsighted. Often, he could understand the truth from just a few words. Poison Rose knocked Lin Feng's head. Lin Feng was speechless. "What are you doing?" "I want to pry it open and see if you're the reincarnation of an old monster." Poison Rose said. Lin Feng said calmly, "Unfortunately, I'm not the reincarnation of an old monster." The ancestor of all poisons said, "Looks like you really are the Chaos Region's ruler's daughter. Hurry up and take our prince to see his father-in-law. A dog's mouth cannot spit out ivory." Poison Rose kicked the ancestor of all poisons off the chair. Said Lin Feng, "Rose, I'm going to see your father sooner or later." "Let's do it tonight," said Lin Feng sincerely. "Rose, I'm going to see your father sooner or later." "Go die," Poison Rose said snappily. At this time, the price of the primordial ancestral insect egg had already risen to 10 million gold coins, but it showed no signs of stopping. Poison Rose said, "It looks like the primordial ancestral insect egg's price could reach over 100 million gold coins, or even 300 million gold coins." She then muttered, "But even if you bid for it, it won't be easy to cultivate, right?" Lin Feng nodded. "It's naturally very difficult to cultivate something like this, but if you can really cultivate it, it'll be heaven-defying." The ancestor of all poisons said, "The primordial ancestral insect isn't that terrifying. The truly terrifying one is the Emperor Archaic. In the primordial era, I once saw an adult Emperor Archaic fight with an Emperor in outer space. With a flap of his wings, the Emperor Archaic caused the universe to collapse. The Emperor was heavily injured and had to flee miserably." Hiss! Lin Feng and Poison Rose both gasped. Wasn't this too terrifying? Lin Feng found it hard to believe and said, "That's an emperor. How could the Emperor Archaic injure an emperor?" The ancestor of 10,000 poisons said, "Even though emperors are rare, ever since the creation of the world, countless eras have passed, and many emperors have appeared. However, there have only been 4 or 5 immemorial emperor butterflies, which are naturally terrifying." "If that's the case, then it's understandable," Lin Feng said. The ancestor of all poisons said, "Sir, you can bid for the primordial ancestral insect and place the egg under the builder tree's sapling. The sapling's life force will nourish the egg, and there's a chance that the egg will hatch." It wasn't strange for an antique like the ancestor of all poisons to be able to see that there was a sapling in Lin Feng's Dan Tian. Lin Feng asked, "What's the chance of it hatching?" "About 1 in 10,000, the ancestor of all poisons said. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes and say, "Isn't that a little too low?" The ancestor of all poisons said, "If someone else got it, the chances of it hatching would be 0. And primordial divine insect isn't something that can be hatched just because one wants to." The price of the primordial ancestral insect's egg soared, and it finally reached 350 million gold coins. "Is there anyone bidding higher than 350 million? The auctioneer, Nangong Tianqing, asked with a smile. 350 million going once. 350 million going twice. 350 million going thrice. The gavel was about to fall. Suddenly, a voice rang out. 1 billion. In an instant, the entire auction house fell silent. "Are you crazy?" Poison Rose cried out in shock, looking at Lin Feng as if he was crazy. Lin Feng had actually raised the price from 350 million to 1 billion. He had raised the price by 650 million. Was this something a normal person would do? Poison Rose wasn't the only one who was shocked. Many people in the auction house were dumbfounded. Lin Feng said indifferently, 1 billion might seem like a lot to you, but to me, it's just a drop in the ocean. Poison Rose smiled bitterly and said, "How much wealth do you have?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "Even I don't know." 1 billion. Is there anyone bidding higher? The auctioneer, Nangong Tianqing, asked excitedly. Nobody said anything in the auction house. Nobody had ever seen such a rich and overbearing person. He didn't treat money as money at all. His first bid was 1 billion, and he had raised the price by 650 million gold coins. How could anyone continue bidding? 1 billion going once, 1 billion going twice, 1 billion going thrice. Sold. The gavel in Zongjing Machi's hand fell, and the primordial ancestral insect's egg was won by Lin Feng. Not long after, an elder of the auction house came to Lin Feng's box and handed the bottle containing the primordial ancestral insect's egg to Lin Feng. After the elder left, Lin Feng broke the seal on the bottle and poured out a pea-sized primordial ancestral insect's egg. This egg has golden spots. The ancestor of all poisons was shocked. Chapter 1449. Lin Feng's heart stirred, and he asked, "Is there something wrong with the golden spots on the egg?" The ancestor of 10,000 poisons said, "Only the eggs of the imperial ancestral insects would have such spots, so this should be the egg of the imperial ancestral insects. Ordinary ancestral insects can only reach the quasi-emperor realm at most, but imperial ancestral insects can reach the great emperor realm if everything goes well." It's that amazing? Lin Feng was shocked. If it could evolve to the great emperor realm, wouldn't that mean he would have a great emperor realm pet in the future? Just the thought of it made him excited. The sapling of the Jianmu tree took root above the Danxi, emitting balls of dense life force. Lin Feng placed the egg under the sapling. At that moment, something strange happened. The sapling's roots extended and wrapped around the immemorial ancestral insect's egg. Streams of life force flowed into the ancestral insect egg. At the same time, the primordial ancestral insect egg also emitted a terrifying power that surged into the sapling of the builder tree. The sapling of the builder tree and the Archean ancestral insect egg formed an alternating cycle. Lin Feng smiled when he saw this. He hadn't expected such a cycle to form. It seemed like the egg also had the energy needed by the builder tree. It was a good thing to form such a cycle. It could greatly increase the chances of the egg hatching. Treasures were taken out for auction one after another. Lin Feng didn't care about most of the treasures, but when he did care about treasures, he would immediately bid a sky-high price and buy them. He mainly bought some precious array formation materials or some materials to refine divine weapons. These materials were rare, and even if he couldn't use them for the time being, he might be able to use them in the future. Moreover, even if he couldn't use them, one of his women might be able to use them to forge a natal treasure. Next up is a bottle of Spring of Life. The starting price is 10 million gold coins. The auctioneer, Nangong Tianqing, said with a smile, "What? Spring of Life? That's some good stuff." It's said that it's an immortal liquid condensed from the tree of life. It can prolong one's life and bring the dead back to life. It's an otherworldly soul treasure. The appearance of the Spring of Life caused many people to exclaim in surprise. Many people made their moves and participated in the competition. The price of the Spring of Life quickly rose to a sky-high price of 2 billion. However, such a precious treasure was clearly far from reaching its limit. Many large powers continued to compete, and the price of the Spring of Life rose to 10 billion. After reaching 10 billion, many major forces began to withdraw from the competition, one after another. About a dozen people were still bidding. At this time, Lin Feng shouted out a price, 20 billion. Many of the people who were still bidding had ugly expressions on their faces. If these people continued to participate in the bidding, the final price would probably reach around 15 billion. But now that Lin Feng had directly bid 20 billion, it showed that he was determined to win. Lin Feng didn't treat money as money, but they couldn't. Even the sons of domain, lords, couldn't do what Lin Feng did, casually throwing out tens of billions without batting an eye. Who is this person? How can he be so rich? He doesn't give anyone a chance to compete for anything. Someone just went to ask around about the people in the private room. It's said that there are 3 people in total, and the leader is a young prince. But that's all. He's so rich. Could it be that he's a descendant of some hidden clan? He's too high profile. No matter how rich he is, he shouldn't be spending money like that. This is ancient city of chaos. Who knows how many people will pay attention to him? People will die for wealth, and birds will die for food. Many people will try to kill him. We don't even know if he'll be able to leave ancient city of chaos alive. Such a person must have a peerless expert protecting him. How could it be easy to kill him? Many ants can kill an elephant. Even if he has a peerless expert protecting him, he won't be able to deal with so many people surrounding him. Don't forget that this time, the soul-transforming fruits will definitely attract the attention of godly cultivators. If those godly cultivators attack him, he won't be able to escape. Many people in the auction hall whispered to each other. Many people were convinced that Lin Feng was going to die. In the end, the Spring of Life was sold for 20 billion. Very quickly, someone brought the Spring of Life over. I'm guessing that many people want to kill you and steal your treasures. You're too rich, Lin Feng said indifferently, so the ancestor of all poisons will have something to do now. The ancestor of 10,000 poisons said excitedly, "It's best if some powerful people come. When the time comes, I'll show off my might and get rid of those blind bastards for the young master. I'll even be able to obtain their wealth. It'd be even better if a deity realm expert came. Deities are rich, and all of them are incredibly rich. Moreover, divine source is incredibly precious. When we kill them and devour their divine source, the young master's cultivation will definitely greatly increase." Poison Rose looked at the ancestor of all poisons helplessly. She then glanced at Lin Feng helplessly. Lin Feng and the ancestor of all poisons were a team. Even a god fire expert wouldn't be able to deal with them. If an ordinary god came, they might really be killed. Freaks. Poison Rose couldn't help but mutter to herself. Lin Feng came back to his senses and looked at the Spring of Life in his hand. It was a good thing. The tree of life was one of the 3 divine trees that had been born before the creation of the world. The spring of life condensed from the tree of life had many miraculous effects. Lin Feng didn't want to use the spring of life for himself. He wanted to use it to cultivate his builder tree sapling. The builder tree sapling grew slowly, but if it could absorb the spring of life, its growth speed would increase greatly. Lin Feng had been able to hatch the builder tree sapling because he had used the spring of life to cultivate it. He poured the spring of life into the sapling of the builder tree. All the spring of life was absorbed by the builder tree sapling. The builder tree sapling, which was originally only the size of a palm, grew rapidly. It grew 15 centimeters tall. Lin Feng was ecstatic when he saw this. Lin Feng had been cultivating the builder tree sapling for 10 years. During such a long time, it had only grown about 3 centimeters. Now, after absorbing a bottle of the spring of life, it had grown to 15 centimeters. The spring of life had a great effect on the growth of the builder tree sapling. It could be said that this growth speed was beyond Lin Feng's expectations. The builder tree sapling was now about 30 centimeters tall. After growing 15 centimeters, it underwent an amazing change. A mysterious and ancient power was absorbed by the builder tree sapling. Then, this power poured into Lin Feng's limbs, bones, and soul. Lin Feng immediately felt that his body and soul seemed to be ready to undergo a transformation. This transformation was a transformation from a mortal body to a god. Chapter 1450. Is this the power of providence? Lin Feng was slightly surprised. The power of providence could completely transform a cultivator's life. This transformation was the transformation from a mortal to a god. And now, Lin Feng was absorbing the power of providence. To become a god, one needed to absorb a large amount of power of providence. Why did the cultivators of the Tianwu continent have to leave the Tianwu continent after reaching the rebirth realm? Because it was impossible to absorb the power of providence in the Tianwu continent. Therefore, the cultivators of the Tianwu continent had to leave for the Jiuzhou continent to absorb the power of providence and break through to the deity realm. Under normal circumstances, only those who had reached the peak of the rebirth realm could absorb the power of providence and change their life. But now, the sapling of the builder tree was able to absorb the power of providence between heaven and earth after growing 15 centimeters. The power of providence was fed back to Lin Feng, helping Lin Feng to change his life in advance. This was naturally a good thing. When Lin Feng broke through the peak of the rebirth realm, he could even break through to the deity realm. He would not be like other cultivators who stayed at the peak of the rebirth realm and spent many years absorbing the power of providence to change their life. The power of providence is a kind of providence, but it's extremely rare. Why are there so few deity realm experts who can seize the providence of heaven and earth to break through to the deity realm? It's because the power of providence is too difficult to absorb. Many cultivators might not even be able to seize a single strand of power of providence in a month. It's naturally as difficult as ascending to the heavens to break through. And the sapling of the builder tree is able to absorb the power of providence continuously. It's really amazing. It seems that my life will soon reach the level of a god. As long as my realm increases, breaking through to the deity realm will be a matter of course. Lin Feng could not help but ponder. At this time, all kinds of auction items were brought out. The ancestor of all poisons and the poison rose also participated in the bidding and won the items they needed. However, Lin Feng did not auction anything after that. Finally, the auction came to an end. The beautiful auctioneer, Nangong Tianqing, said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the next item to be auctioned is the spirit-transforming fruit. I'm sure everyone already knows the effects of the spirit-transforming fruit. The spirit-transforming fruit can help a cultivator break through to the deity realm. And the starting price for the spirit-transforming fruit is 1 billion. As Nangong Tianqing's words fell, the entire auction house burst into an uproar. Many people had come for the divine transformation fruit. This was especially true for the children of the region lords. Their father was in charge of a region, and over the years he had amassed countless riches. Right now, these sons of the region lords had received their father's support. Many of them were eager to fight for the divine transformation fruit. 1 billion. 2 billion. 3 billion. 3 billion. 5 billion. The competition for the divine transformation fruit was extremely fierce. The people who were the first to bid were only ordinary families. The top families and forces had yet to make a move. However, even if those ordinary families were to bid, the price would continue to rise. Soon, it reached 10 billion. However, the price showed no signs of stopping. It didn't take long for the price to reach 50 billion. After reaching this price, the ordinary families withdrew from the competition one after another. Only the great families and forces remained. The price of the divine transformation fruit continued to rise. Soon, it reached 68 billion. 70 billion. The ancestor of all poisons shouted. Poison Rose snapped. "You're shouting such a high price. Do you have the money to buy it?" The ancestor of all poisons curled his lips and said, "So what if I don't have the money to buy it? In any case, I know that this price won't sell. I'm just shouting for the thrill." The ancestor of all poisons had a rather eccentric personality, and this kind of thing suited his style of doing things. The price of the divine transformation fruit quickly soared to 100 billion. At this point, many great families began to withdraw from the competition. When the price reached 200 billion, the children of the region lords joined the competition. Even the top families found it difficult to compete with the children of the region lords. After all, the children of the region lords had the region lords behind them. The region lords would definitely allocate a large amount of money for them to compete for the divine transformation fruit. A total of 8 children of the region lords came. The competition between the 8 of them was very intense. The price soared to 500 billion. This price was basically the limit of what the 8 children of the region lords could mobilize. The amount of money they had received from their fathers was about the same. Thus, it was difficult for them to determine a winner. However, the children of the region lords had their own connections and could raise a lot of money. The 2 auctioneers discussed for a moment and decided to stop the auction for half an hour to allow the children of the region lords to raise money. Although the children of the region lords couldn't raise a few hundred billion, they might be able to raise a few hundred billion. If there were no surprises, the children of the region lords would be able to raise more money. The divine transformation fruit would belong to them. You don't need to raise money. That's just wasting everyone's time. I bid 1 trillion for this divine transformation fruit. However, the sudden voice silenced the entire auction hall. One could hear a pin drop. 500 billion was already a sky-high price. Now, someone had actually raised the price from 500 billion to 1 trillion. This price shocked countless people. The children of the region lords had gloomy expressions. "It's him again," many people murmured. Naturally, they recognized the owner of the voice. "Brother, are you trying to snatch the divine transformation fruit from the 8 of us?" Suddenly, one of the region lord's children spoke in a cold voice. "Brother, if you withdraw, we'll be friends with you. What do you think?" Said another of the region lord's children. "Brother, when you're outside, you have to be tactful. The more friends you have, the more options you have." said the third of the region lord's children. Then the other children of the region lord's children began to talk at once. They wanted Lin Feng to withdraw from the auction. The children of the region lord's children would participate in the final auction. Although the auction house wanted to sell the fruit to Lin Feng because Lin Feng had bid a high price, the auction house didn't want to offend the children of the region lords. After all, the children of the region lords were supported by the other 8 region lords. Offending the children of the region lords was equivalent to offending the region lords themselves. Therefore, the 2 auctioneers didn't say anything. Instead, they let Lin Feng and the children of the region lords settle the matter themselves. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "I really don't know where you poor bastards get your confidence from. You want to threaten me? Why don't you take a piss and look at your own faces? If you have money, continue bidding. I'm afraid of accompanying you. If you don't have money, shut up or get lost. Don't get in my way." Hearing Lin Feng's arrogant words, the children of the region lord's children slammed the table next to them. "Kid, who do you think you are? How dare you be so arrogant in front of us?" shouted the children of the region lords furiously. "8 pieces of trash, impudent. I don't even want to deal with trash like you because you're not even qualified to carry my shoes. You're a bunch of poor bastards and you're making a fuss here. Don't you feel ashamed? You've disgraced your father." Lin Feng curled his lips. You. The children of the region lord's children were so angry that they couldn't speak. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into pieces. "Very good. Let's ride a donkey and read a songbook." The children of the region lord's children sneered and sat back down. They knew that this was the region lord's territory, so they shouldn't cause trouble. Chapter 1451. In the auction house's VIP lounge. The manager of the auction house was called Morong He, and he had personally delivered the divine transformation fruit. Lin Feng had guessed that Poison Rose was the daughter of the Chaos region's ruler. Since Poison Rose had such a deep connection with the auction house, Lin Feng guessed that Morong He probably knew about his identity. "Haha, Region Lord Lin, I've heard a lot about you." Morong He cupped his fists. Lin Feng was rather surprised that Morong He admitted that he knew about Lin Feng's identity so easily. Morong He didn't seem like a scheming person, so Lin Feng had a much better impression of him. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, "You're too polite, fellow Taoist Morong." Morong He took out a white jade box and opened it. The divine transformation fruit was placed inside the white jade box. Morong He said, "Region Lord Lin, if there are no problems with the divine transformation fruit, we can exchange it now." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I don't have enough gold coins on me, so I'm planning to use these cultivation spirit stones to exchange for it. How many gold coins can one such cultivation spirit stone be exchanged for?" Lin Feng took out a top-grade spirit stone and gave it to Morong He. Morong He's eyes lit up when he saw the spirit stone. Resources were scarce in the great exiled world, and there were no spirit stones, so cultivators had to use pills to cultivate. However, pills had a lot of impurities, so they couldn't be compared to spirit stones. Spirit stones, which were rare and common in the Tianmu continent, were definitely precious treasures in the great exiled world. Morong He said, "One spirit stone is roughly equivalent to 100,000 gold coins." All the items he had bought added up to about 11 million top-grade spirit stones. Lin Feng took out 11 million top-grade spirit stones and gave them to Morong He. "I want these cultivation spirit stones too. Give me some points as well." Poison Rose couldn't take her eyes off the top-grade spirit stones, so she grabbed Lin Feng and said, "You're in a hurry. I'll exchange them for you when we get back." Lin Feng said. Poison Rose nodded her head. Her heart was filled with joy. she planned to exchange as many of these cultivation spirit stones as possible. We can't stay here for long. We'll take our leave now. Lin Feng cupped his fists. Take care, Region Lord Lin. Morong, he said with a smile as he personally escorted Lin Feng and the other two out of the auction house. He's out. Someone secretly transmitted his voice. Clearly, many people had their eyes on Lin Feng's group. In this world, there were too many people who were willing to risk their lives for money. Birds die in pursuit of food, and men die in pursuit of wealth. This principle was applicable everywhere. It was even more applicable in the ancient city of Chaos. When Lin Feng and the others arrived at a crossroad, the originally dense crowd on the street suddenly disappeared without a trace. Someone had set up a grand array here, trapping Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and Poison Rose within it. Swish, swish, swish. Then a dense crowd of cultivators rushed over. There were more than 1,000 people. Kill them! Someone shouted. Immediately after, attacks that blotted out the sky and covered the earth surged out and blasted towards Lin Feng and the other two. Lin Feng shook his head and said, "They're really willing to give up their lives for money." Du Zhu shouted loudly. A group of small fries dares to jump out. They simply don't know what's good for them. Go to hell. Du Zhu waved his right hand, and poisonous gas rolled out. More than 1,000 cultivators were enveloped by the poison. Ah! Miserable screams rang out one after another. One cultivator after another fell from the sky. By the time they hit the ground, they were already dead. Du Zhu's poison was extremely terrifying. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to resist it at all. In the blink of an eye, more than 1,000 cultivators died miserably. Lin Feng tore apart the grand array and came out with Poison Rose and Du Zhu. However, as soon as they came out, attacks that blotted out the sky and covered the earth came crashing down. There were attacks from magic treasures and divine abilities. The children of the 8 region lords joined forces with many of their subordinates to attack Lin Feng. Brat, you dare to be arrogant in front of us? Only death awaits you. The children of the 8 region lords laughed sinisterly. You don't know what's good for you. Du Zhu sneered and spat out a mouthful of air at the people surrounding him. The poison rolled out. Everyone was enveloped. The Poison Realm's young master, Mu Jiuzhou, sneered. Using poison in front of me? You overestimate yourself. Mu Jiuzhou opened his mouth and inhaled, wanting to swallow all of Du Zhu's poison. However, as soon as he came in contact with Du Zhu's poison, his body began to rot, and he couldn't help but scream. At that moment, Mu Jiuzhou realized that the cultivator in front of him who used poison was definitely an extremely terrifying poison expert. He wasn't someone he could compare to. Ah! The subordinates of the 8 region lords' children screamed and fell from the sky. In a few breaths' time, they were poisoned to death. In fact, even the magical treasures that they had taken out had been corroded. Although the other 7 region lords' children didn't die, they were also poisoned and their bodies began to rot. Poison cultivator, are you from the Poison Realm? My father is the region lord of the Poison Realm. Senior, please spare my life, since we're all experts from the Poison Realm. The Poison Realm's young master, Mu Jiuzhou, begged. Spare our lives. Our father is the region lord. Please spare us for our father's sake. The other region lord's children begged again and again. They knew that they had kicked an iron plate and were scared out of their wits. Where are your storage rings? Hand them over, and I'll spare your lives. Lin Feng said with a faint smile. What? You want our storage rings? No, that's impossible. The region lord's children screamed. Although they were the region lord's children, the region lords had more than one son. If they lost their wealth, it would be a huge blow to them. Their fathers would probably be disappointed in them and focus on nurturing other outstanding sons. In any case, The region lords were looking for the most suitable successor. The survival of the fittest was very cruel. The competition for the position of the region lord's children was even crueler than the competition between the princes for the throne. If they made a mistake, they could be eliminated, and it would be very difficult for them to recover. It seems like you think that your lives are worth less than your wealth. Kill them all. Lin Feng waved his hand. He. Du Zhu laughed. The poison ancestor let out a strange laugh and was about to deal with the children of the domain lords. Spare our lives. Spare our lives. We're willing to give you our storage rings. The 8 region lords' children's faces were deathly pale. They didn't want to give up, but they had no other choice. They took out their storage rings one by one and gave them to Lin Feng. However, they were cursing Lin Feng in their hearts. Little bastard, you stole our storage rings. Just you wait. We'll gather some strong cultivators soon, and they'll tear you to pieces. Lin Feng took the storage rings. The region lord's children were extremely wealthy. Each of them had 500 billion gold coins, so 8 of them were worth 4 trillion gold coins. Lin Feng had made a fortune this time. Get lost. Du Zhu cured the 8 region lords' children of their poison. He waved his sleeve, and the 8 region lords' children were sent flying. Lin Feng didn't look at them again. He continued walking. Poison rose, and Du Zhu followed behind Lin Feng. These people are very troublesome to deal with. If we kill them, we'll offend the 8 region lords. Poison Rose said. Lin Feng smiled, but didn't say anything. Du Zhu laughed strangely and said, They've been poisoned by my poison for a long time. It's soundless, colorless, and odorless. They'll die in 2 hours. Then they'll become my slaves and obey my orders. How could they take revenge on you? After pausing for a moment, Du Zhu laughed strangely and said, The status of these 8 people in their father's heart will plummet. That way, they won't attract any attention. They're the most suitable slaves. In the future, if you want to annex other regions, these 8 people might be of great use. Poison Rose was not interested in annexing territory. She was more interested in the goo poison that the poison ancestor had mentioned. She excitedly said, Teach me this goo poison technique. Why should I? Du Zhu pursed his lips and ran away. It was obvious that he didn't intend to teach her. Don't go. Poison Rose chased after him. Soon, Lin Feng left as well. In a nearby tea house, Mose Tianzuan and Jun Tiandi were sitting there, eerily watching Lin Feng leave. Wang Tianyi stood to the side, waiting on them. How did this kid get a poison expert by his side? This is going to be troublesome. Mose Tianzuan said. Jun Tiandi said, The poison region's master is the #1 poison expert, and he's extremely greedy. As long as there are enough benefits, we can ask him to deal with the poison expert. Then we can work together to kill Lin Feng. Excellent. That way, we'll be absolutely safe. Mose Tianzuan's eyes lit up. Jun Tianyi said, We need Wang Tianyi to go to the poison region personally. No problem. Wang Tianyi, go to the poison region and ask the poison region's master to come. Tell him that as long as he helps us kill Lin Feng, we'll agree to any conditions. Mose Tianzuan said. Yes, I'll go now. Wang Tianyi quickly left and went to the poison region to ask the poison region's master to come. Chapter 1452. After returning to his room, Lin Feng took out the storage rings he had obtained from the 8 region lords' sons. After carefully inspecting them, he found 3 trillion gold coins, as well as all sorts of pills, magic treasures, and so on. When the time comes, I'll give all these gold coins to Chu Tianba and let him buy food. How many suffering commoners will he be able to save? Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh with emotion. I couldn't tell that you were such a kind-hearted person. Poison Rose walked in with a pair of charming legs. She continued, I heard that you wantonly built temples in the Dragon's Gate region to sing your praises. The outside world said that you were a person who rejoiced in grandiose deeds. Now, it seems that those rumors weren't completely true. Lin Feng said, when you build temples, the commoners can go there to pray for blessings. Every temple has people who collect their wishes. As long as they have reasonable wishes, such as filling their stomachs, driving away ferocious beasts, curing diseases, and so on, they'll be able to fulfill them. They'll have faith in life, and they'll be able to persevere and live on. Poison Rose said, although I know that you must have your own reasons for building temples, it's just as you said. You've indeed helped many commoners. In this regard, the other region lords can't compare to you. They only know how to wantonly amass wealth and never care about the lives of commoners. Including your father, the region lord of chaos. Lin Feng looked at Poison Rose with a smile that wasn't a smile. Poison Rose's face suddenly turned cold, and she said, I don't have a father. Lin Feng said, it seems that I've mentioned something that hurts you. I apologize. Since you know that you've done wrong, then give me more cultivation spirit stones. Poison Rose said. Lin Feng reached out and hugged Poison Rose's slender waist. His right hand placed on her alluring bosom and pinched it a few times. He smiled and said, if you agree to be my woman, how many cultivation spirit stones do you want? Let go of your cheap claws. Poison Rose glared fiercely at Lin Feng. However, only Poison Rose knew how confused she was right now. She hated men to the core and would never have any physical contact with them. But recently, she had been by Lin Feng's side. She didn't know if it was because she was teased by Lin Feng too many times. As a result, Poison Rose did not reject any physical contact with Lin Feng. Even if it was some intimate contact, Poison Rose did not reject it. This made Poison Rose feel a sense of panic. In order to hide her true emotions, Poison Rose became fierce, hoping that Lin Feng would not notice her abnormality. Ahem, I couldn't help myself. Lin Feng coughed twice, but before he moved his hand away, he pinched her a few more times. Poison Rose gnashed her teeth in hatred. Lin Feng, on the other hand, lamented that this feeling was really too good. This woman's figure was sexy and did not lose touch. It was indeed of the highest quality. Poisonous Rose rolled her eyes at Lin Feng and said, I can take out about 800 billion gold coins to exchange with you. Lin Feng nodded and said, no problem, let's have a lover's price. I'll give you 10 million top-grade spirit stones for 800 billion gold coins. Who's your lover? Shameless. Poison Rose snorted. Fine, I'll save you 2 million top-grade spirit stones. I should give you 8 million now. Lin Feng said. No, you just said that you'll give me 10 million. A man shouldn't go back on his word. Poison Rose snorted. So you're saying that it's a lover's price? Lin Feng smiled at her and kissed her on the lips. She tasted really good. Lin Feng smiled and kissed her on the lips. She tasted really good. You bastard. Poison Rose's face was so red that it was almost bleeding. She kicked Lin Feng. After Lin Feng dodged, he said, 2 million spirit stones for a kiss isn't too much, right? Poison Rose clenched her teeth, but she could only endure Lin Feng for now. Seeing that Poison Rose wasn't angry, Lin Feng quickly gave her the bottle with the 10 million top-grade spirit stones. Humph! Poison Rose snorted and threw the bottle to Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at her, said Lin Feng angrily. Immediately after, she walked away with her long and slender legs. With these 80 million gold coins, I can save many more lives. Lin Feng smiled and put the 80 million gold coins into his empty space bottle. The days passed. Lin Feng's clone broke through to the fifth sky of the empty god layer from the fourth sky of the empty god layer. Lin Feng was very happy. Absorbing the power of faith from the temples had helped him break through too quickly. I should expand my territory, build more temples, and gain more followers. The more temples I have, the more power of faith I have, and the faster my cultivation will break through. Lin Feng muttered to himself. 10 days later, Poison Rose came to Lin Feng's room and said, "There's news from the auction house. The person is here. He's wearing a green robe and wants you to go quickly." Whoosh! Lin Feng disappeared without a trace. It was night, so it was a good time to hide. The cultivator, who had consigned the soul transformation fruit, came to collect his commission more than 10 days after the auction ended. He was obviously very cautious. "He's out." Suddenly, Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and saw a cultivator in a green robe and a bamboo hat walking out quickly. After he came out, he didn't stop and walked out of the ancient city. Lin Feng silently followed behind the green-robed cultivator. After the green-robed cultivator left the ancient city, black-robed men came out of the forest and surrounded him. "Wang Zhongming, you actually dared to betray the Divine Tower of Darkness and even stole a divine transformation fruit. The Divine Tower of Darkness has already issued the Divine Tower of Darkness bounty for you. Today, we finally found you. Let's see how you'll die." A black-robed leader walked out. "Humph! I broke the restriction placed in my mind by the Divine Tower of Darkness. I've never felt so free. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you how to break the restriction. You'll also be free. What do you think?" The green-robed cultivator said. "What? You broke the restriction? No wonder you were able to escape alive." Many people exclaimed. Whoosh! Right at this moment, Wang Zhongming seized the opportunity and shot off into the distance. He wanted to escape while the cultivators of the Divine Dark Tower were distracted. Chapter 1453. Wang Zhongming had escaped because he knew that no matter what he said, the Divine Tower of Darkness would not let him off. The Divine Tower of Darkness was too powerful, and not everyone wanted to pursue freedom. Many people had stayed in the Divine Tower of Darkness for many years and could not leave. Furthermore, could they survive if they left the Divine Tower of Darkness? Given the Divine Tower's power, any traitor would not have a good ending. Thus, Wang Zhongming knew this clearly. Those people would not betray the Divine Tower of Darkness for the sake of freedom. Thus, Wang Zhongming had only said those words to distract them and hoped that he could find a way to escape. Wang Zhongming had indeed found such an opportunity, and he managed to break out of the encirclement. However, at that moment, the void split open, and a mysterious man stepped out. He struck Wang Zhongming with his palm. Bang! Wang Zhongming was sent flying by the palm, and his body fell to the ground. "Deputy Tower Master!" Wang Zhongming cried out in horror, his face pale. "Wang Zhongming, you are a disciple with great potential, and your future is limitless, but you chose to betray the Divine Tower of Darkness. Do you know that this is a crime punishable by death?" The Deputy Tower Master was called Guan Tianjin, and his voice was gloomy as he looked at Wang Zhongming coldly. This time, the Divine Tower of Darkness had even sent a Deputy Tower Master to capture Wang Zhongming. It was obvious that the Divine Tower of Darkness would not give up until they captured Wang Zhongming. Wang Zhongming said, "I just want freedom." "Freedom? Ha ha ha. What is freedom? Can freedom allow you to survive in this world?" Guan Tianjin sneered. "No, only strength can allow you to survive in this world. Without the protection of the Divine Dark Tower, would you have been able to survive until now in this chaotic world? Now that you've grown up, you want freedom?" Wang Zhongming did not say anything. He just lowered his head and clenched his fists. "I used to think highly of your future, but you have disappointed me. Who bewitched you?" Guan Tianjin asked coldly as he looked at Wang Zhongming. Wang Zhongming said, "No one bewitched me. This is my own decision." Humph! Guan Tianjin snorted. Guan Tianjin snorted coldly and said, "When someone's deep-rooted thoughts change, it's because of something that changed them. You are no exception." Wang Zhongming's expression fluctuated, but in the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "That's right. My heart was changed by something. I can accept the fight for benefits and life and death battles, but I can't accept it. Capturing a 4 or 5-year-old girl in the Divine Dark Tower and letting her bleed every day is too cruel and heartless." "Are you qualified to sympathize with others?" Guan Tianjin sneered. Wang Zhongming said, "But I have the right to choose to leave. Even if I die, I'll be able to breathe the air of the outside world. Only when I obtain freedom and distance myself from those evil people will I know how wonderful freedom is. Even if I can only live freely for one day, I won't regret it because I once experienced what a free life is like. This is a life that people are unwilling to let go of after experiencing it. This kind of life is the true life. Humph! You will spend the rest of your life in a boundless purgatory, living a life worse than death. Let's see if you regret your foolish actions." Guan Tianjin couldn't help but sneer. "I'd rather die than be captured by you." Wang Zhongming raised his right hand and slapped his forehead. Guan Tianjin pointed his right hand. A ray of magic power shot out and entered Wang Zhongming's body. Wang Zhongming couldn't move at all. "You want to die? How can I let you die so easily? Take him away." Guan Tianjin waved his hand. 2 cultivators from the Divine Tower of Darkness immediately walked towards Wang Zhongming. "Divine Dark Tower, they should be eradicated," said Lin Feng. A cold voice sounded. Next, a young cultivator stepped forward. This person was Lin Feng, who had followed Wang Zhongming out of the city. "Who are you?" Guan Tianjin looked at Lin Feng gloomily, his eyes flashing with killing intent. Someone actually dared to say that the Divine Dark Tower should be eradicated. He was simply courting death. "My surname is Lin. My name is Feng." Lin Feng. Many people called out this name. Then their expressions suddenly changed. Guan Tianjin exclaimed, "You're the Dragon Gate region's region lord, Lin Feng?" "Yes." Lin Feng flicked his sleeves. Guan Tianjin felt that things were getting troublesome. He had heard of the region lord of the Dragon Gate region before. Although he was young, his cultivation was extremely high. He wasn't someone they could fight against. Perhaps only the head of the Divine Dark Tower could contend against him. Moreover, it was obvious that the region lord of the Dragon Gate region had a deep enmity with the Divine Dark Tower. As one of the 36 vice heads of the Divine Dark Tower, Guan Tianjin had access to many secrets. He couldn't remember when the Divine Dark Tower had offended Lin Feng. Since they hadn't offended Lin Feng, why would he have such a deep enmity with the Divine Dark Tower? This was what puzzled Guan Tianjin. Guan Tianjin said, "Region Lord Lin, I don't think the Divine Dark Tower has any grudges with you, right?" Lin Feng said, "Little Yao Yao, who was captured by you, is my younger sister. Is this reason enough?" Swoosh! Upon hearing Lin Feng's words, Guan Tianjin turned around and fled without a second thought. "Let's go." The other cultivators of the Divine Dark Tower didn't dare to stay any longer. They quickly fled into the distance. They finally understood why the region lord of the Dragon Gate region, Lin Feng, was so hostile to the Divine Dark Tower. The Divine Dark Tower had captured his younger sister and used her blood to nurture the divine transformation tree. How could he not be angry? "I seal the world." Lin Feng took a step forward, and an icy aura emanated from his body. The cultivators of the Divine Dark Tower, who were fleeing in all directions, were sealed in ice. Guan Tianjin was shivering, and his body was frozen in midair. Lin Feng came to Guan Tianjin's side and used a soul-searching technique. He wanted to search through Guan Tianjin's soul and memories to find clues about the Divine Dark Tower. However, there was a restriction in Guan Tianjin's mind. When Lin Feng searched his soul, the restriction was triggered, and Guan Tianjin's soul was instantly destroyed. At that moment, Wang Zhongming, who was lying on the ground, said, "There is a restriction in these people's souls. You can't search for the secrets in their souls. If you want to know where the Divine Dark Tower is, I can take you there." Lin Feng took out heavenly fire and burned Guan Tianjin's corpse to ashes. Then he came to Wang Zhongming's side and lifted him up. Then he walked into the distance. After a few ups and downs, they disappeared without a trace. Bang, bang, bang. After Lin Feng left, the frozen bodies of the Divine Dark Tower cultivators instantly shattered. Hundreds of Divine Dark Tower cultivators died in the blink of an eye. Chapter 1454. When they returned to their residence, Lin Feng threw Wang Zhongming to the ground and looked at him. "Tell me, where is the Divine Dark Tower?" Wang Zhongming replied, "The Divine Dark Tower is in the Chaos Realm, but it's at 9 Phantom Mountain." "What kind of place is 9 Phantom Mountain?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Wang Zhongming said, "The 9 Netherworld Mountain is an extremely dangerous place in the Chaos Realm. Ferocious beasts run amok there, and it's covered with restrictions. It's filled with danger. The Divine Dark Tower has a small world here, which is one of the 3 main headquarters of the Divine Dark Tower." It was normal for a place like the Divine Dark Tower to have a few headquarters. They were probably worried that a strong enemy would find them one day, so that they wouldn't be wiped out. "Little Yao is imprisoned here?" Lin Feng asked. Wang Zhongming nodded. "That's right. She's imprisoned here. I've committed a heinous crime. Once I rescue the little princess, I'll be at your disposal." Lin Feng replied, "I can't even thank you enough. So why would I punish you? If we can rescue little Yao, the Dragon Gate region will provide you with shelter." "Thank you, Region Lord Lin." Wang Zhongming cupped his fists excitedly. Although he was free now, he could die at any time under the pursuit of the Divine Dark Tower. If Lin Feng provided him with shelter, he could be reborn. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Wait here for a moment, I'll be back soon." "Yes." Wang Zhongming nodded and found a place to sit down. Lin Feng found Du Hua and freed her from the seal on her strength. She was free. The Divine Dark Tower's headquarters is filled with danger. You should be careful, or you might lose your life, Poison Rose reminded him after hesitating for a moment. Although she didn't know why she said that, she still didn't know. Lin Feng smiled. "It's just the Divine Dark Tower. I can come and go as I please. There's nothing to be afraid of." "Keep bragging." Poison Rose couldn't help but pout. Although Lin Feng was very strong, and he had an expert like Du Zhu following him, Lin Feng was still very strong. However, for an ancient power like the Divine Dark Tower, there were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. Furthermore, they definitely had a foundation, and that foundation was incomparably terrifying. Therefore, if one were to sneak into the Divine Tower of Darkness, it would be fine if one was not discovered. However, once one was discovered, one would be in grave danger. Lin Feng left with Du Zhu and Wang Zhongming. 7 days later, they arrived at the 9th Underworld Mountain. Forests, basins, and abysses crisscrossed the 9th Underworld Mountain, covering an area of 300 miles. Although it wasn't particularly large, it was extremely dangerous. This place was shrouded in mist all year round. Even during the day, one could still see lonely souls and wild ghosts wandering around. It was truly an extremely terrifying place. When cultivators came here, they would feel their souls trembling. When ordinary people came here, they would be invaded by the baleful Een ghost chi and die instantly. Divine Dark Tower's minor world entrance must be heavily guarded. It should be very difficult to sneak in, right? Lin Feng asked. Wang Zhongming said, "Let's not enter from the entrance. I know of a place where there's a crack in space. I came out from there." Okay. Lin Feng nodded. At night, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and Wang Zhongming arrived at a lake. They flew into the lake. It was obvious that the minor world where the Divine Dark Tower was located was connected to this lake. Furthermore, there was a crack in the connection. "It's here." When they arrived above an island, Wang Zhongming suddenly spoke. Lin Feng could vaguely sense a weak space-time power. This was the crack that Wang Zhongming had mentioned. Whoosh! Wang Zhongming took the lead and flew upwards. Lin Feng and Du Zhu followed closely behind. After flying for about 100 meters, Lin Feng felt a space-time power wrap around him. His body quickly shrank before he was pulled into a crack in space. When Lin Feng reappeared, he found himself in a sinister and terrifying place. The baleful Een ghost chi was very strong here. As far as the eye could see, there were many graves scattered everywhere. Wang Zhongming said, "This is the place where the ancestors of the Divine Dark Tower are buried. So basically, no one comes here. Perhaps that's why the Divine Dark Tower didn't notice a crack in space here." Before Wang Zhongming had even finished speaking, a terrifying evil spirit appeared around them. These malicious ghosts were different from ordinary Een spirits and ghosts. Their attacks were very powerful, and even life and death realm cultivators would have a hard time dealing with them. If it was a group of malicious ghosts, even rebirth realm cultivators would have to flee. It was no wonder that no one came here. If they did, they would be courting death. Great nourishment! Du Zhu let out a strange cry and opened his mouth to take a deep breath. In an instant, all the malicious ghosts were swallowed by Du Zhu. Then, the three of them quickly left. In the distance, Lin Feng saw a 7-story wooden building. That's the Divine Dark Tower. It's a powerful treasure in itself, and it has its own weapon spirit. The little princess is imprisoned in the leftmost room on the 5th floor, and there are experts guarding it. Wang Zhongming said, "It's not easy to enter the Divine Dark Tower," said Lin Feng. Du Zhu said, "That's easy." Lin Feng used the transformation technique and turned into the dead Guan Tianjin. Lin Feng said, "I'll turn into Guan Tianjin now. Du Zhu, you'll turn into a guard. Cover your face." Since everyone in the Divine Dark Tower has their faces covered, no one will suspect you. The Divine Dark Tower was very similar to an assassin's organization. Their members were very careful and usually covered their faces to prevent outsiders from knowing what they looked like. Only the higher-ups knew what the ordinary Divine Dark Tower cultivators looked like. These ordinary Divine Dark Tower cultivators did not know each other's faces. This was for safety reasons and to prevent the portraits of the Divine Dark Tower cultivators from being leaked. After all, the Divine Dark Tower had many enemies. If their portraits were leaked, it would be much easier for their enemies to kill the Divine Dark Tower cultivators. If they did not know what they looked like, it would be too difficult to deal with the Divine Dark Tower cultivators. That's a good idea. The poison ancestor transformed into a guard with a shake of his body, and then used a rope to tie up Wang Zhongming. Lin Feng walked towards the Divine Dark Tower, while Du Zhu held Wang Zhongming. "Deputy Housemaster, you're back." The guards in front of the Divine Dark Tower hurried over to greet Guan Tianjin when they saw him. Naturally, they did not suspect that the Guan Tianjin in front of them was real. This was the headquarters of the Divine Dark Tower. Who could barge in here? Guan Tianjin nodded and said, I've already captured Wang Zhongming, the traitor. I'm going to lock him up. Tomorrow morning, I'll report to the leader. Deputy Housemaster, you've done a great service. We await your return. The group of people bowed to Guan Tianjin that Lin Feng had transformed into. Reward! Lin Feng threw a storage bag to them. There were tens of thousands of gold coins in it. The guard commander smiled from ear to ear when he saw the gold coins. Hurry up and open the door. What are you waiting for? The guard commander said. Yes. Immediately, a few guards opened the door to the Divine Tower of Darkness. Lin Feng stepped inside, and Du Zhu followed closely behind him with Wang Zhongming in tow. The door then closed behind him. After entering the Divine Dark Tower, Lin Feng went straight to the 5th floor. Upon reaching the 5th floor, Lin Feng walked to the left and quickly saw two old men sitting cross-legged outside a room on the far left. Both of them were very powerful. They opened their eyes and saw Lin Feng as Guan Tianjin. The two of them stood up and bowed, slightly. They then glanced at Wang Zhongming and smiled. Deputy Housemaster, you've done a great service by capturing Wang Zhongming. Lin Feng laughed and said, things went quite smoothly this time. Elders, you've worked hard to protect the little princess. I've obtained some good things in the ancient city of chaos. I'll give them to you. Lin Feng took out a spatial bottle and handed it to the two elders. The two of them inspected it with their divine senses and cried out in surprise, Are these cultivation stones? Lin Feng nodded. That's right. Cultivation stones are very beneficial to your cultivation. Thank you, Deputy Housemaster. The two of them hurriedly bowed. Lin Feng said, Open the room's restrictions. I'll go and see how the little princess is doing. That's against the rules. You'll need 36 Deputy Housemaster's jade tablets or an order from the Housemaster to open it. The two of them hesitated. I was just saying, since you're making things difficult for me, I'll take my leave. Lin Feng's expression sank slightly, and he turned to leave. The two elders had just received a lot of benefits from Lin Feng. Refusing Lin Feng was embarrassing, so they ground their teeth and said, Vice Leader, we can only take a look, and then we'll leave. If the leader finds out, we won't be able to bear the consequences, said Lin Feng. Don't worry, I know the rules. Lin Feng said. The two of them nodded and opened the restrictions. Deputy Housemaster, please. The two of them led Lin Feng into the room. As soon as they entered, Lin Feng and Du Zhu attacked as fast as lightning. They each targeted an elder of the Divine Dark Tower and attacked them with their palms. Deputy Housemaster, you... The two elders cried out in alarm, but they didn't even have time to react before they were killed by Lin Feng and Du Zhu. Chapter 1455. After dealing with the two of them, Lin Feng returned to his original appearance. He walked into the room and quickly saw a dirty little girl curled up in a corner. The little girl was little Yao Yao. Lin Feng quickly walked over and looked at little Yao Yao with a pained expression. Little girl, Big Brother is here to save you. However, little Yao Yao didn't reply. She didn't move at all. Lin Feng felt that something was wrong. He held little Yao Yao in his arms and saw that her face was as white as a sheet. Her body had also become very thin and weak. Her lips were dry and cracked. Although her eyes were closed, her body was constantly trembling. Seeing little Yao Yao's pitiful appearance, Lin Feng's heart ached, and he was angry. He injected a stream of magic power into little Yao Yao's body, nourishing her body. Little Yao Yao's weak aura finally grew stronger. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and she opened her eyes. She seemed to think that she was dreaming. Big Brother, little Yao Yao is scared. Little Yao Yao is in pain. The little girl stretched out her small hands and hugged Lin Feng. Then she fainted. Don't be afraid in the future. Big Brother is here to save you. No one will bully you in the future. Lin Feng hugged little Yao Yao and covered her small body with a black robe. Then Lin Feng transformed into Guan Tianjin. Wang Zhongming put on a veil and followed Lin Feng outside. As soon as they left the room, the space in the corridor suddenly distorted slightly. A mysterious existence shrouded in black fog walked out. How dare you barge into the divine dark tower? You won't be able to escape today. The mysterious cultivator's voice was cold. The divine dark tower's artifact spirit has sharp senses. Du Zhu, deal with him. Lin Feng said. Yes. Du Zhu leaped out, sweeping up an endless amount of poisonous gas and attacking the divine dark tower's artifact spirit. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao and quickly walked outside. The battle on the 5th floor had alarmed the cultivators of the divine dark tower. A dense crowd of cultivators rushed over, including dozens of vice tower masters. Who are you? How dare you impersonate Guan Tianjin and barge into my divine dark tower? Many vice house heads shouted angrily. Dragon Gate Region's region master, Lin Feng. Lin Feng's voice was indifferent as he returned to his original state. What? You're Lin Feng, the leader of the Dragon Gate region. Many people's expressions suddenly changed. Following that, someone shouted coldly, Region Lord Lin, our divine Tower of Darkness has no enmity with you. What is the meaning of this? Little Yao Yao is my little sister. Just this fact alone is enough for you to die. Lin Feng's voice was ice cold. Kill him. The dozens of Dark Divine Tower's vice tower masters immediately gave the order. Since Lin Feng had come for the daughter of the Lunar Emperor, he had no choice but to accept it. In that case, their relationship would be irreconcilable until one of them died. The cultivators of the godly Dark Tower threw themselves at Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved his right hand, and his avatar flew out. Boom! The avatar wielded the great desolate war spear and charged into the crowd, starting a massacre. With a sweep of the great desolate war spear, countless cultivators from Divine Dark Tower died on the spot. You're courting death. With a cold shout, a black-robed cultivator stepped out from the void and attacked the avatar with a palm. Both sides collided, and the black-robed cultivator forced the avatar back. It's the house head Mo Zixi. He's a god. Seeing the black-robed cultivator, Wang Zhongming's expression changed drastically. On the surface, there were 12 God Realm experts in the great exiled world. They were the 12 region masters. But in reality, there were still a few God Realm experts in the dark. It was just that these experts did not belong to any of the 12 regions. Some of them were independent cultivators, while others controlled huge forces. For example, Divine Dark Tower was a force that was completely independent of the 12 regions. The leader of Divine Dark Tower, Mo Zixi, was one of the God Realm experts other than the 12 region masters. The 12 region masters were more high-profile existences, while the few God Realm experts in the dark were more low-key. They did not appear in front of the world, and many people did not know of their existence. Region Master Lin, is it worth it to go against my Divine Dark Tower for a sister who is not related by blood? Hand over the Moon Emperor's daughter now, and I'll treat it as if nothing happened and let you leave. If you don't know how to appreciate favors, this day next year will be your Memorial Day. Mo Zixi's voice was indifferent and filled with endless killing intent. Wang Zhongming, take good care of little Yao Yao and follow my avatar to break out of here. Lin Feng handed little Yao Yao to Wang Zhongming. Yes, Region Master, you must be careful of Mo Zixi. He's an expert in curses and is very strange. Wang Zhongming reminded, Mo Zixie's face darkened slightly. He looked coldly at Wang Zhongming and said, "You traitor, just wait to be thrown into the endless purgatory and never be able to live again." Wang Zhongming ignored Mo Zixie as he followed behind the deity's avatar and headed outside. The avatar started a massacre. If God blocked his way, he would kill God. If Buddha wanted to kill Buddha, Mo Zixie rushed towards Wang Zhongming, but was stopped by Lin Feng. Lin Feng was wearing the death god's armor and the 9 demons picture above his head. He controlled the 9 demons picture to attack Mo Zixie. On the other hand, he condensed the great poison technique, and an endless amount of poison swept towards Mo Zixie. Emperor weapon. Mo Zixie was shocked, but then he laughed coldly. He chanted an incantation. Rays of demonic light shot out from the divine dark tower to block the 9 demons picture. This divine dark tower was also an incredible treasure. It could be seen from the fact that the artifact spirit was in the god realm. Lin Feng did not find it strange that the divine dark tower could block the 9 demons picture's attack. Mo Zixie rushed towards Lin Feng. He laughed coldly and said, "An attack like the great poison technique is useless against me." He opened his mouth and inhaled. All the poison was swallowed by him. Then Mo Zixie's right hand slapped forward. In an instant, demonic chi rolled. Within the demonic chi, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. When they looked carefully, they could see thousands of soldiers and horses rushing towards them. The huge army formed by the demonic chi was made up of Yin soldiers and ghost generals. It was as if an army of Yin soldiers had rushed out from the underworld. The Yin soldiers were making way. All living beings were retreating. You want to use demonic chi to disturb my heart? Today, I'll let you have a taste of my supreme divine power. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he stepped in the void. The karma of the world. I am the embodiment of the way of karma. I represent the great way of karma to judge the evil and righteousness of this world. The power of karma will guide you on a path of light. It will allow you to abandon the evil in your hearts and no longer be punished by fate. It will allow you to enter the 6 paths of reincarnation and reincarnate. Lin Feng pointed with his right hand, and the power of karma gushed out. It instantly flowed into the rolling demonic chi. Under the effect of the power of karma, the hundreds of millions of Yin soldiers and ghost generals all disintegrated. Then, Lin Feng instantly rushed in front of the Master of Darkness. He hurriedly used ancient immemorial technique and swept it towards the Master of Darkness. This was the supreme divine power recorded in the first part of the great reincarnation technique. Ancient immemorial technique had lasted for hundreds of millions of years. It took away one's life and caused the person who was hit by it to instantly age. Bang! Lin Feng's fist landed on Mo Zixie's body. Mo Zixie's body quickly became old. His strength was quickly draining away, and his cultivation was also quickly falling. Chapter 1456. My body is actually aging. Mo Zixie exclaimed. Mo Zixie cried out in horror. He couldn't believe his eyes. However, his body was indeed aging. This made Mo Zixie's hair stand on end. 9 slashes of the Demon Emperor. Lin Feng roared and unleashed the Heavenly Demon Clan's Emperor technique. He turned into a ray of demonic light and slashed towards Mo Zixie. At the same time, the Celestial State clone wielded the Great Baron War Spear and was invincible. The ground was littered with corpses. Even 7 of the Vice House leaders were killed by the Celestial State clone. Open! The doppelganger at Immortal State grabbed the closed door and pulled it open. It was more than 20 meters high. Die! The guards guarding the door and the cultivators of the Divine Tower of Darkness who were chasing after Mo Zixi all attacked at once. They charged towards the Celestial State clone, and Wang Zhongming, who was carrying little Yao Yao. Total annihilation. The Celestial State clone couldn't help but roar and sweep his war spear. The spear light tore through the sky. Poof, poof. Along with the sound of tearing, cultivators were killed one after another. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding area was filled with the corpses of the cultivators of the Divine Tower of Darkness. Go! The Celestial State clone roared. Wang Zhongming carried little Yao Yao and followed the Celestial State clone out of the Divine Tower of Darkness. Inside the Divine Tower of Darkness, the battle between Lin Feng and Mo Zixi had reached a critical point. Faced with Lin Feng's 9 slashes of the Demon Emperor, a Daluo chessboard appeared in front of Mo Zixi. The Daluo chessboard was formed by a sacred art. Mo Zixi roared coldly. I use the heavens and earth as my chessboard and all living things as my chess pieces. All living things are trapped in the chessboard. As Mo Zixi's voice rang out, the Daluo chessboard flew out and started to spin violently in the void. Waves of destructive energy swept across the heavens and earth, surging out and shaking the void. Following that, a terrifying energy spread out from the Daluo chessboard and wrapped around Lin Feng. Lin Feng turned into a chess piece and fell into the Daluo chessboard. This great overarching chessboard was truly an extremely bizarre ultimate technique. You took away my lifespan, so I'll make you sink into oblivion for all eternity. Mo Zixi's voice was cold. He unleashed thousands of techniques in an attempt to trap Lin Feng within the great chessboard. The chessboard is the reason. You described all living things as chess pieces, so all living things are trapped in the chessboard. This is the final result. Trapping all living things is the cause, and all living things yearn for freedom. Breaking the seal and escaping is the effect. The cycle of karma in this world is within my control. Suddenly, Lin Feng let out a long howl. The chess piece that he had turned into suddenly shot up and left the chessboard. This was the profundity of the Tao of karma. Everything in the world, they were all related to karma. As long as there was a causal relationship, Lin Feng had a way to resolve it. Lin Feng returned to his original form from a chess piece. Then he sent 1,000 demon reincarnation fist towards Mo Zixi. The 1,000 demon reincarnation fist was a peerless emperor technique passed down by the heavenly demon clan. It was extremely powerful. After the 1,000 demon reincarnation fist was unleashed, numerous demonic shadows appeared behind Lin Feng. They were the 1,000 demon shadows. Bang! Lin Feng's fist swept across Mo Zixi's body and sent him flying. Wah! Mo Zixi spat out a mouthful of blood. His face couldn't help but become as pale as a sheet of paper. You actually injured me. Mo Zixi couldn't help but roar in anger. As the Tower Master of the Divine Dark Tower, Mo Zixi had already forgotten the last time he was injured. This injury made Mo Zixi feel a deep sense of humiliation. So what if I injured you? Today I'll kill you. Lin Feng leapt forward and attacked Mo Zixi. But at that moment, Mo Zixi's old body started to recover. Ha 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 ha, I've recovered. I thought that this sacred art could really make me old, but it's only temporary. Die! Shouted Mo Zixi furiously. He then used the dragon and tiger celestial imprint to attack Lin Feng. Bang! The two sides collided once again. Lin Feng and Mo Zixi were both sent flying. Mo Zixi took Lin Feng's attack and coughed out another mouthful of blood. However, Lin Feng only felt his blood boil. He wasn't injured because he was wearing the Death God's armor. Its defensive power was too strong and could dissipate Mo Zixie's powerful attack. Damn it! Mo Zixie couldn't help but roar in anger. His expression was gloomy as he said, "If you didn't have this tortoise shell, I would be able to kill you within 10 moves. Isn't a treasure a part of one's strength? The one who lives to the end will have the last laugh. If you don't even understand this principle, how did you become the Tower Master of the Divine Dark Tower? You're a retard." Lin Feng mocked. Mo Zixie was furious. He said coldly, "Brat, don't think that I can't deal with you just because you're wearing this tortoise shell. Today, I'll let you know how powerful I am." As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Zixie's hands formed a series of seals. At the same time, he muttered a mysterious chant. It was obvious that Mo Zixie was going to use some powerful technique. Lin Feng suddenly remembered that Wang Zhongming had told him that Mo Zixie was good at using curses. Curses were one of the strangest abilities. Even a powerful existence, like the Fire Crow, was cursed by the curse. Even a powerful inheritance, like the Sage clan, was cursed by the curse. Therefore, when he saw that Mo Zixie was going to use the curse, Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate. He quickly rushed towards Mo Zixie, wanting to interrupt Mo Zixie's attack. However, halfway through his flight, suddenly, Lin Feng's chest was pierced by a strange force. His body flew backwards. Lin Feng didn't even know what kind of force had injured him. Was this the art of curse? Lin Feng stabilized his body, his face extremely pale. He felt a strange force flowing through his body. It was very likely the power of the curse. At this moment, that strange force was invading Lin Feng's limbs, bones, organs, and even his soul. This force wanted to completely destroy Lin Feng's life force. Soon, 2 more bloody holes appeared on Lin Feng's body. His body retreated continuously, his FA rapidly declining. "Brat, how does it feel to be hit by my curse?" Mo Zixie had a proud expression, as if he was sure that Lin Feng would be defeated. "What a good curse, but if you want to use it to kill me, you won't be able to do it." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng's right hand directly took out a tricolored ball of fire. "Burning wrath of the heavens," shouted Lin Feng in a deep voice. Asterisk bang. Asterisk, the tricolored ball of fire exploded. Mo Zixie's expression changed greatly, and he quickly retreated. Even though the destructive strength hadn't been able to destroy the godly Dark Tower, it had destroyed the godly Dark Tower's protective spells. Many cracks appeared on the walls of the tower. Lin Feng punched the godly Dark Tower and broke it open. Then he quickly rushed out. "Brat, you're courting death by destroying my treasure." The weapon spirit of the godly Dark Tower, who was fighting against the poison ancestor, shouted furiously. He turned around and chased Lin Feng. The poison ancestor caught up with him and threw a punch at the weapon spirit of the godly Dark Tower. The weapon spirit was blown away. Then, the poison ancestor turned into a poisonous fog and flew out of the broken wall. "Young master, are you all right?" Duzu's expression changed when he saw Lin Feng's pale face. "I've been hit by a curse. I need to find a place to dissolve the curse, or my life will be in danger. We can't stay here for long. Let's go." Lin Feng shouted and quickly flew out. Chapter 1457. Lin Feng and Duzu quickly rushed outside. "Chase!" Mo Zixie and the weapon spirit of darkness Divine Tower chased after them with gloomy expressions. Soon, Lin Feng and Duzu arrived at the broken space and met up with the god's avatar, Wang Zhongming, and little Yao Yao. "Let's go." Lin Feng waved his hand and wrapped everyone up, disappearing in an instant. A crack in space. No wonder these people were able to sneak in. It's all because of that traitor Wang Zhongming. Once we catch him, we'll make him suffer a fate worse than death. Mo Zixie's voice was filled with boundless killing intent. He and the weapon spirit of darkness divine tower also rushed into the cracked space. Lin Feng and the rest had just rushed out. Suddenly, a destructive wave surged over. The magic lotus descended from the sky and rushed towards Lin Feng and the rest. Ha ha ha, brat, you won't be able to escape this time. Mose Tianzuan's sinister voice rang out from the magic lotus. At this moment, Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, Mu Qianzong, and Wang Tianyi were all inside the magic lotus. They activated the magic lotus together and launched a sneak attack on Lin Feng. The power of this attack could be said to be destructive. It was obvious that this group of people had followed them all the way here. It was just that this group of people did not appear and did not even chase into the small world of darkness divine tower. They were worried that they would alert the enemy. These people were like poisonous snakes hidden in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to kill Lin Feng. This was because Mose Tianzuan was too familiar with Lin Feng. He knew that to deal with Lin Feng, he had to kill him in one blow. Otherwise, once Lin Feng had a chance to catch his breath, killing him would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The magic lotus enveloped Lin Feng's group. This was the opportunity that Mose Tianzuan and the others had been waiting for. Lin Feng, after you die, I will help you take over the Dragon Gate region. Heavenly Emperor Jun's sinister voice sounded. Clearly, even Heavenly Emperor Jun believed that Lin Feng would not be able to dodge the magic lotus's attack. Humph! At that moment, Lin Feng coldly snorted and said, "You think too highly of yourselves. You want to kill me with such little tricks? You must be dreaming." Lin Feng's hands formed hand seals. He immediately used the heaven patching technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. The reason why he didn't use the heaven patching technique in his battle with Mo Zixie was because he was worried that something might happen. True enough, something really did happen. Now, the heaven mending technique came in handy. Swish! When the heaven patching technique was used, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, the God Realm clone, Wang Zhongming, and little Yao Yao instantly disappeared without a trace. They appeared 100 meters away. The magic lotus's terrifying attack exploded in midair, shattering the void. However, it didn't hurt Lin Feng and the others in the slightest. Whoosh whoosh! At that moment, Mo Zixie and the artifact spirit of the Divine Tower of Darkness also rushed out from the crack in space. After seeing the magic lotus, Mo Zixie was slightly stunned. He naturally knew about the magic lotus. Now, Mo Zixie felt a few familiar auras from the magic lotus. Mo Zixie shouted, "Everyone, Lin Feng has already been hit by my curse technique. Right now, the curse technique is destroying his physical body. His fighting strength has sharply decreased. Now is the best time to join forces and kill him." Ha 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 ha, that's great. Heavenly Emperor Jun laughed out loud and took the lead to fly out from the magic lotus. Then Mose Tianzuan, Mu Qianzong, and Wang Tianyi also flew out. A group of experts chased after Lin Feng and the others. Buzz, formation runes intertwined in the void. These formation runes were obviously set up by Mose Tianzuan and the others in advance to trap Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng used the formation splitting technique to break the formation, just as he was about to leave with Du Zhu and the others. However, at that moment, Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, and the others had already caught up. These people surrounded Lin Feng and the others, sealing off all the escape routes for Lin Feng and the others. "Lin Feng, there is a path to heaven, but you don't take it. You barged into hell and offended my divine tower of darkness. Only death awaits you." Mo Zixie's voice was filled with cold, killing intent. "Lin Feng, it's time to settle our grudges today." Mose Tianzuan laughed sinisterly. Boom, these experts made their moves, and all kinds of powerful attacks began to brew. Waves of destructive energy surged out from their bodies. Young master, this is troublesome. There are too many experts on the other side. We are at a great disadvantage. Duzu's face suddenly changed. The disparity in strength between the two sides was too great. This seemed to be a sure death situation. At that moment, Lin Feng roared and said loudly, "Do you think that I have no way to deal with you? Let me tell you, you are gravely mistaken. Today, I will let you experience my peerless skills." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng took a step forward in the void. The great path of reincarnation supports the 6 paths of reincarnation of the myriad worlds. Today, I am willing to sacrifice my life to summon the wheel of reincarnation. Lin Feng used an ancient and mysterious language and chanted an ancient incantation. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng's lifespan began to burn. It began to burn fiercely. Lin Feng currently had 50,000 years of lifespan. But in the blink of an eye, he had burned 10,000 years of his lifespan. But there was no movement between heaven and earth. This meant that burning 10,000 years of lifespan was far from enough. This brat's methods are very strange. He burned 10,000 years of his lifespan in an instant, but nothing happened. It's hard to imagine what kind of sacred art would consume so many years of lifespan in order to use it. The next sacred art he uses will probably burn 10,000 years of his lifespan. Once he succeeds, that sacred art will be incomparably terrifying. Hurry up and stop him. Mose Tianzuan roared. He was most familiar with Lin Feng, and because of that, he was even more afraid of Lin Feng. Boom! The magic lotus flew out and attacked Lin Feng. Immediately after, Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, Mu Qianzong, Wang Tianyi, Mo Zixi, and the Darkness Divine Tower's artifact spirit all displayed powerful sacred arts. Terrifying fluctuations swept through heaven and earth. The sacred arts of these experts gathered together to form a torrent of attacks that flooded towards Lin Feng. Even if a divine fire realm expert received this attack, he would probably be seriously injured, even if he didn't die. And at this critical moment, Lin Feng burned 30,000 years of his lifespan. Finally, he managed to communicate with a great existence. Above the 9 heavens, black fog rolled. Within the black fog, a huge roulette could be vaguely seen. That roulette filled the space between heaven and earth. That will seem to be supporting the operation of the 6 paths of reincarnation. What's that? Heavenly Venerate Demon Saint, Heavenly Emperor Jun, and the others all looked at the roulette in the 9 heavens and felt the terrifying aura of the roulette. Everyone was aghast. Rumble! That mysterious wheel started to spin, and in an instant Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, and the rest's attacks were shattered. The magic lotus was also sent flying. Bang, bang, bang. Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, Mu Qianzong, Wang Tianyi, Mo Zixi, and the Darkness Divine Tower's artifact spirit were all sent flying by an invisible force. Each of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. Just one attack was enough to cause them to be seriously injured. Chapter 1458. The great art of reincarnation was indeed worthy of being ranked forth among the 3,000 great Das. Summoning the wheel of reincarnation was the most profound part of the great art of reincarnation. However, Lin Feng's cultivation wasn't high enough, so he could only summon the wheel of reincarnation by burning his lifespan. Moreover, Lin Feng had only cultivated half of the great art of reincarnation, so he could only summon a phantom image of the wheel of reincarnation. However, even so, the wheel of reincarnation was so powerful that Lin Feng found it hard to believe. What kind of divine ability is this? It's so powerful. Jun Tiandi, and the others cried out in horror. Quick, follow me into the magic lotus. As long as we enter the magic lotus, that mysterious will won't be able to hurt us. Mose Tianzuan shouted loudly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Immediately after, the 6 of them rushed into the magic lotus. The wheel of reincarnation started spinning again. Waves of destructive power bombarded the magic lotus. The magic lotus was sent flying. However, the wheel of reincarnation wasn't able to break through the magic lotus's defense. The magic lotus was very strange. It had extremely strong offensive and defensive power, so breaking through the magic lotus's defense was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The wheel of reincarnation started spinning again, tearing the void apart. Lin Feng swept everyone into the crack in the void and quickly left, a heaven-defying existence. Like the wheel of reincarnation consumed too much of one's spiritual power. Therefore, Lin Feng could only control it 3 or 4 times before his spiritual power was exhausted. It was too difficult to use the wheel of reincarnation to kill Mose Tianzuan and the others who were hiding in the magic lotus. The crack in the void instantly closed, and Lin Feng and the others disappeared without a trace. At this time, Mose Tianzuan and the others flew out of the magic lotus, but their faces were pale. Every one of them had suffered serious injuries. I didn't think that he would have such a trick up his sleeve. He made all our efforts go to waste. I'm so angry. Mose Tianzuan's expression was extremely gloomy. Jun Tiandi said, "This kid's cultivation hasn't reached the divine realm, but he actually has such powerful strength. It's really unbelievable. I feel that his lifespan should be around 50,000 years. He just burned 30,000 years of his lifespan, so he can no longer use that divine ability. As long as we can block him again, this kid will definitely die," said Moz Xia. "Let's use our own strength to look for Lin Feng, especially on the way back to the Dragon Gate region. We need to send more people." Heavenly Emperor Jun, Mu Qianzong, and the others nodded. Mo Zixi looked at the weapon spirit of the Divine Dark Tower and said, "A crack has appeared in the space. Try to repair it as much as possible." The weapon spirit of the Divine Tower of Darkness was unable to leave the Divine Tower of Darkness. Naturally, it couldn't follow them to search for Lin Feng. However, the weapon spirit of the Divine Tower of Darkness had the strength of a Divine Realm cultivator, so it could repair the broken space. "Don't worry, I will repair the spatial crack as soon as possible. No one will be able to enter the miniature world as they wish," the weapon spirit of the Divine Dark Tower said. Then, the group quickly dispersed and sent out their own troops to search for Lin Feng's whereabouts. 300 miles away, in a cave, Lin Feng sat cross-legged and hurriedly used his heavenly fire to burn the curse energy that had entered his body. Although he had lost 30,000 years of his lifespan, Lin Feng didn't feel any heartache. Lin Feng knew that once he broke through to the divine realm, he would have millions or even tens of millions of years of lifespan. 30,000 years of lifespan wasn't worth mentioning. Now, he was only concerned about the curse energy in his body. The curse energy was very strange. It was like maggots in one's bones. It was very difficult to get rid of it. Even with his heavenly fire, it was very difficult to refine the curse energy. What a curse technique. It's really strange. It's a silent attack. I don't even know how Mo Zixi managed to injure me. Lin Feng was still burning the cursing strength in his body. He was thinking. He used all 3 heavenly fires and spent a total of 10 days to refine the curse power bit by bit. Only then did Lin Feng let out a long breath. "Big brother." As soon as he woke up, Lin Feng heard little Yao Yao's voice. Lin Feng opened his eyes and saw little Yao Yao standing beside him. The little girl's face was still very pale. This was caused by the collapse of her blood and qi. Lin Feng hugged little Yao Yao and said, "Little girl, it's okay. With Big Brother here, no one will be able to bully you in the future." Little Yao Yao nodded her head heavily, but then tears fell from her eyes. "Little girl, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" Lin Feng's heart ached as he asked. "Uncle is dead. They killed him. Little Yao Yao will never be able to see him again." Little Yao Yao said in a sorrowful voice. Although little Yao Yao was naive, she was different from ordinary children. She was the daughter of the Lunar Emperor. Thus, even though she was young, she was very intelligent and understood many things. Lin Feng wiped away little Yao Yao's tears and said, "Even though Uncle has passed away, he definitely wanted little Yao Yao to live happily. Little Yao Yao, you have to be happy, okay?" Little Yao Yao snuggled up in Lin Feng's arms and nodded slightly. Lin Feng asked, "Do you know where Uncle passed away?" "A lake. A very, very big lake. Uncle said that father went there and lived there for a while," Little Yao Yao said. Little Yao Yao's body was very weak, so she quickly curled up in Lin Feng's arms and fell asleep. Lin Feng took out the soul-transforming fruit. Then Lin Feng completely refined the fruit and sent all of its energy into little Yao Yao's body. Lin Feng's body was now being transformed by the power of destiny. In the future, Lin Feng would smoothly break through to the God realm. He wouldn't need the soul-transforming fruit. However, the soul-transforming fruit was very important to little Yao Yao. The origin energy it contained could help her recover quickly. After absorbing the origin energy, little Yao Yao's pale face finally regained some color. "Du Zhu, what do you think of what little Yao Yao said?" Lin Feng asked. Du Zhu said, "The lake she mentioned is very likely the Southern Wasteland Lake, right? It's the only lake in the exiled world that's relatively large. As for the fact that the Lunar Emperor lived there for a while, that doesn't seem right. The Lunar Monarch had been fighting for years. How could he have the time to live in the Southern Wasteland Lake? Unless the Lunar Monarch went to the Southern Wasteland Lake before he died and buried himself there." Lin Feng was shocked. "If that's the case, doesn't that mean that the Lunar Emperor's inheritance is buried somewhere in the Southern Wasteland Lake?" Du Zhu nodded. "That's indeed possible. If it's true, then the Southern Wasteland Lake is worth a visit. If we can find the place where the Lunar Emperor buried himself, we'll be rich. The Lunar Emperor's imperial weapon is the Lunar Emperor sword. That's a top-tier imperial weapon. Even if the 9 Demons painting isn't divided into 9 parts, it might not be as powerful as the Lunar Emperor sword. If we can obtain the Lunar Emperor sword, killing gods and Buddhas will be a piece of cake. Even the magic lotus can be torn apart by the Lunar Emperor sword." Chapter 1459. The Southern Wasteland Lake stretched as far as the eye could see, with surging waves. This place was very dangerous because at the bottom of the unfathomably deep lake there were many powerful vicious beasts. Some vicious beasts even had the power to destroy the heavens. Especially in the depths of the Southern Wasteland Lake, these terrifying creatures would often appear. And now, Lin Feng, little Yao Yao, Du Zhu, and Wang Zhongming had arrived at the Southern Wasteland Lake. Lin Feng hugged little Yao Yao, and the little girl hugged Lin Feng's neck and said, "Big brother, Uncle died in this lake." Lin Feng rubbed little Yao Yao's head. The little girl's memory was very strong, and she could actually tell that this was a place she had been to before. As an empress, she might have some abilities that Lin Feng did not know about, and this ability allowed little Yao Yao to distinguish many things. Du Zhu said, "In this vast and boundless Southern Wasteland Lake, if the corpse fell into it, I'm afraid it would have already been buried in the stomach of the vicious beasts." Lin Feng nodded, feeling a little sad in his heart. Zhou Shijun had left a deep impression on Lin Feng, and he was a person worth befriending. but unfortunately, he had died tragically here. Brother Zhou, I hope you can rest in peace. Lin Feng took out a jug of wine and scattered it in the southern wasteland lake. It seems like the people from the Divine Tower of Darkness did not know that the Lunar Emperor had buried himself in the southern wasteland lake. Otherwise, the people from the Divine Tower of Darkness would have definitely sent people to search the southern wasteland lake. Du Zhu said. Wang Zhongming said. Indeed, no one in the Divine Tower of Darkness talked about the southern wasteland lake. Although Zhou Shijun and the little princess were found here, the higher-ups of the Divine Tower of Darkness only thought that Zhou Shijun wanted to escape into the southern wasteland lake to avoid danger. Yes, Lin Feng nodded. They went all the way into the southern wasteland lake and found some cultivators. Wang Zhongming said, the southern wasteland lake is very rich in resources. For example, there is a plant at the bottom of the lake called the profound blue vine, which has high medicinal value. Many pharmacies buy it at an extremely high price. So many people take the risk to enter the southern wasteland lake to collect this profound blue vine to sell it. Of course, there are many other resources at the bottom of the lake, which is worth the risk. The poison ancestor replied, humans die for wealth, and birds die for food. This is a principle that has never changed since ancient times. Come. Oh, just as they rushed out of the lake, a gray flood dragon followed closely behind. The gray flood dragon was about 300 meters long. It swallowed everyone in one gulp and then dived back into the lake, disappearing without a trace. Lin Feng could not help but sigh. Ordinary cultivators really don't have it easy. Du Zhu said, mortals have a hard time surviving, but cultivators have a hard time cultivating. Mortals want to have a full meal, while cultivators want to have cultivation resources. Perhaps this is the 100 forms of life. Lin Feng muttered to himself. 3 days later, Lin Feng and the others entered the central region of the lake. There were very few cultivators here, and even if they flew for a long time, they might not necessarily see other cultivators. This was because this place was more dangerous than the outer regions. Many people would not come here to take the risk. Roar. The roar shook the heavens and the earth, and a vicious beast rushed out of the lake. This vicious beast had 3 heads. The left head was like a lion's head, the right head was like a crocodile's head, the left head was like a shark's head, and the body was like a python's. It was Lin Feng's first time seeing such a strange, vicious beast. This vicious beast was very terrifying. With a whip of its tail, it shattered the void. Furthermore, all 3 heads could spit out different kinds of attacks. The lion's head spat out fireballs containing destructive power. The crocodile's head spat out lightning attacks. The shark's head spat out a dense number of water arrows. Wow, we're in for a treat tonight. Du Zhu shouted when he saw this vicious beast and immediately pounced on it. Although this vicious beast's cultivation was very strong, it was not Du Zhu's match. Du Zhu killed it in 3 moves. Don't touch it with your poison, or it won't be able to eat it. Lin Feng said, Hee, young master, are you afraid of poison? Du Zhu shouted strangely. Lin Feng said, I'm not afraid, but little Yao Yao and Wang Zhongming are. Du Zhu said, young master, you might not know this, but this little girl is not simple. She has the direct bloodline of an emperor, and the emperor's blood in her body can neutralize poison. That's why she's not afraid of poison. Wang Zhongming wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He smiled bitterly and said, Du Zhu, please do me a favor. Seeing that I've served you with all my heart, please don't poison me to death. Du Zhu scolded, look at how useless you are. Carry this monster, and I'll let you guys have a taste of my cooking tonight. When night fell, Lin Feng and the others landed on an island and started a bonfire. Duzu began to take out all kinds of condiments from his storage ring. Lin Feng did not know when Duzu had bought them. Duzu said, "Cultivators must treat themselves well. Either they don't eat anything, or they eat the most delicious things. That's why cultivators should practice good cooking skills." Lin Feng smiled and said, "What kind of crooked logic is that? Some people are like ascetics. In order to cultivate, they only eat fasting pills." Duzu said, "That kind of life is too boring." At night, Lin Feng and the others tried Duzu's cooking. This guy's cooking skills were really good. Even little Yao Yao's stomach was round from eating. After dinner, Lin Feng lay on a branch of a big tree to rest. Little Yao Yao lay in Lin Feng's arms and chatted with Lin Feng for a while before falling asleep. In the middle of the night, Lin Feng was awakened. Little Yao Yao's body was emitting rays of golden light, and the blood in her body was flowing faster and faster. "Big brother, little Yao Yao is so hot." Little Yao Yao was sweating profusely from the heat. "Duzu, what do you think is going on with little Yao Yao?" Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao and jumped down from the tree. Duzu glanced at her and said, "This golden light is produced by the circulation of her emperor blood. If I'm not wrong, this must be a reaction from her bloodline. Could it be that her bloodline is resonating with the lunar emperor's corpse?" Lin Feng said in shock. Duzu nodded and said, "That's right. It's indeed possible." Boom. At that moment, a huge rumbling sound came from the depths of the southern wasteland lake. A huge illusory island appeared. Endless golden light shot into the sky. Heavens, what's that? An illusory island? All the cultivators in the southern wasteland lake were alarmed when they saw the huge illusory island. Chapter 1460. The illusory island was suspended in midair. It was an island in the sky. Some people tried to get close to the island, but halfway through, their bodies were crushed and they died. Many people were terrified. There were obviously terrifying restrictive spells around the island. "Maybe we can only enter the island after it appears," said a cultivator. A cultivator said, "No one rashly entered the range of the island because it was very likely that they would suffer a calamity." More and more cultivators formed groups and entered the depths of the lake, heading towards the illusory island. Maybe it was because of the illusory island, but even the ferocious beasts in the depths of the southern wasteland lake had become quiet. Many people were worried that they would be attacked by ferocious beasts, but after entering the depths of the southern wasteland lake, they realized that they hadn't encountered any ferocious beasts. It seems that this island is related to the Moon Emperor. Lin Feng held Yao Yao in his arms and stood outside the illusory island. Yao Yao's body was still shining, and she seemed to have a special connection with the island. "Big brother," Yao Yao heard a voice. Yao Yao whispered, "What voice?" Lin Feng was shocked. "The birth of the moon, and I can't hear anything else." Yao Yao said, "What does that mean?" Lin Feng was puzzled and looked at Duzu. The Moon Emperor's most powerful technique was the moon creation incantation. Could it be related to this? Asked Duzu. The Moon Emperor could be considered one of the most powerful great emperors in history. The Tine creation mantra he created contained the power of extreme yin and the power of creation in the world. Everything could be divided into yin and yang, and the Moon Emperor represented the pinnacle of the yin path. The power of creation was second only to destiny, karma, and reincarnation. From this, one could see how powerful the Tao created by the combination of the Tao of extreme yin and the power of creation was. The moon creation incantation was unparalleled in the world. If one could obtain this peerless technique, it would be terrifying. There were also rumors that the Moon Emperor and another great emperor, the Sun Emperor, had joined forces to create a technique that could reverse the past and the present. It was called the Moon Secret Technique. The first half of this ability was the Great Yin creation art. The second half was the Sun creation art created by the Sun monarch. Yin and Yang formed a cycle. It was rumored that the power of the secret art of Tai Yin and Tai Yang surpassed the monarch art and reached the level of immortal art. It was one of the most powerful offensive divine arts. Once successfully cultivated, one would be able to fight against Khanate saint spirits. Of course, no one knew whether the rumors were true or not. The only thing they knew was that the inheritance of the Moon Emperor was definitely unprecedented. Time passed slowly. The illusory island became more and more real, gradually revealing itself. One day later, everyone could see the jungle and ferocious beasts on the island. 2 days later, everyone could hear the roar of beasts coming from the island. 3 days later, the island finally began to appear. It floated in midair, surrounded by golden light, as if it had turned into an eternal island that would last for eternity. This island was really too mysterious. It gave off an ancient aura. This shocked many people. They didn't know the origin of the island, so when they felt the ancient aura, they couldn't calm down. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many people soared into the sky and flew toward the island. Then they disappeared into the island. Lin Feng and the others didn't stop either. They also entered the island. There were many ferocious beasts on the island, and they were abnormally strong. They started fighting with the cultivators who entered the island. Look, it's a 9-legged, 3-tailed scorpion. It's a creature from the immemorial era. I heard that it was extinct during the immemorial war. I didn't think that such a ferocious beast would appear on this island. A cultivator pointed into the distance. There were more than 10 scorpions there, and they were attacking a group of cultivators. Oh my God, is that a 50,000-year-old king herb? In another direction, a cultivator cried out in alarm as he discovered a palm-sized, nearly transparent spiritual grass. It was called the Xianling herb. It was extremely rare. It was 50,000 years old, which showed how precious it was. However, the Xianling herb was protected by a golden caruncled green-eyed snake. The golden caruncled green-eyed snake was about 200 meters long. It had wings, and its body gave off a destructive aura. It was abnormally terrifying. However, in order to obtain the Xianling herb, many people rushed towards the golden caruncled green-eyed snake. More and more cultivators were killed by the golden caruncled green-eyed snake, but it didn't scare off the other cultivators. Instead, more and more cultivators rushed towards it. Lin Feng and the others continued going deeper into the island. Before long, they saw a group of terrifying creatures. They were gigantic spiders that were more than 10 meters tall. There were so many of them that it was impossible to tell how many there were. They moved together to kill cultivators. Many cultivators were killed by the spiders and became food for the spiders. This island was too dangerous. There were ferocious beasts everywhere. Someone discovered a cave abode. Suddenly, a piece of news spread quickly. This alarmed too many people. Lin Feng was also astonished. Could it be that the Lunar Emperor's cave had been found? If that was the case, it would be too shocking. The group of people flew in the direction of the cave residence. This cave is mine. A cold voice sounded from afar. A strong cultivator had arrived and was looking at all the cultivators. Master of the poison region, Mu Qianzong. Lin Feng stood in the distance and narrowed his eyes when he saw this person. Mu Qianzong's arrival shocked everyone. No one dared to snatch a treasure from a master of a region unless they were tired of living. Mu Qianzong broke the seal and entered the cave. However, the cave was empty. This was not the Lunar Emperor's cave. Mu Qianzong's expression turned ugly when he found nothing. He left gloomily. Lin Feng summoned his godly state avatar, and asked it to take care of little Yao Yao. Then Lin Feng and Du Zhu followed Mu Qianzong as he left. Now that Mu Qianzong was not with Mose Tianzuan and the others, Lin Feng guessed that they must have split up to look for him. The sudden appearance of the island in the southern wasteland lake had also alarmed Mu Qianzong. Perhaps he was closer to the southern wasteland lake, so he had come earlier. Lin Feng felt that this was a good opportunity to kill Mu Qianzong. Du Zhu also wanted to kill Mu Qianzong because Mu Qianzong was an expert in using poison. Even his source energy had turned into a highly toxic source energy. If he killed Mu Qianzong and absorbed his source energy, his cultivation would improve greatly. However, Mu Qianzong was a level 10 empty god realm cultivator. He was only one step away from entering the divine fire realm. Because he was an expert in using poison, even divine fire realm cultivators were not willing to provoke Mu Qianzong. It won't be easy to kill him. Even if a strong cultivator of this level is defeated, it's still very easy to escape. We need to think of a foolproof plan, Du Zhu said. Then set up a large array to trap him. Don't let him have a chance to escape. Lin Feng looked at a mountain in the distance. It looked like a dragon and a tiger were fighting. Upon closer inspection, it was an evil dragon and a Mao Wu. Mao Wu was not a tiger, but it looked like one. Mao Wu was a terrifying beast that was comparable to Qiong Qi, Tao Wu, Hundan, and Tao Tai. According to the classic of mountains and seas, the Lin family had a rare beast that was as big as a tiger. It had a long tail and was called Mao Wu. It could travel thousands of miles in a day. Another strange tales of gods and demons, demonic beasts, also had records of Mao Wu. There was a strange beast in the southern part of the divine continent that looked like a tiger. It had a long tail and was called the king of all beasts. Chapter 1461. Using the power of the terrain to set up a large array could often increase the power of the array to the maximum. Furthermore, some terrains contain terrifying power. However, these powers could not be controlled by others. If they could, they would be able to cause unimaginable damage. Coincidentally, Lin Feng had this ability. The evil dragon and Chu Wu fought. These were two powerful, vicious beasts, and the underground contained terrifying power. Lin Feng asked Du Zhu to follow Mu Qianzong. 2 hours later, they accidentally revealed their whereabouts to Mu Qianzong. Then they took the opportunity to lure Mu Qianzong over. Lin Feng flew over and set up a large array. Du Zhu followed Lin Feng's instructions and followed Mu Qianzong. 2 hours later, when they were passing through a mountain range, the poison ancestor saw dozens of cultivators passing by. He rushed over and shouted, "I opened this road, and I planted these trees. If you want to pass through, you'll have to pay the toll." The poison ancestor had directly become a great bandit. When the cultivators saw that Du Zhu was alone, they immediately sneered, "He's courting death. Let's attack together and kill him." Boom. Once the battle broke out, the poison ancestor naturally took care of them very easily. He then stole their storage rings. Mu Qianzong, who had already flown more than 10 miles, sensed the battle in the distance. Thus, Mu Qianzong looked in the direction of the battle. A godly state expert could see the frequency of a mosquito's wings, even from more than 10 miles away. This showed how powerful a godly state expert's eyesight was. When Mu Qianzong turned to look, Du Zhu had already left. Thus, Mu Qianzong did not see Du Zhu's face. He only saw his back. Suddenly, Mu Qianzong looked surprised. He felt that the back of that person was somewhat familiar. Where have I seen him before? Mu Qianzong tried to recall. Suddenly, Mu Qianzong's eyes lit up. It's him, that expert who specializes in poisons by Lin Feng's side. Lin Feng also came to the southern desolate lake. Of course, Mu Qianzong could not be sure if that person was Du Zhu. After all, he only saw Du Zhu's back and did not see Du Zhu's face. Therefore, Mu Qianzong decided to follow that silhouette. He wanted to see if it was Lin Feng's poisoner. The poison ancestor was an old monster-level existence, so he naturally knew that he couldn't reveal any abnormalities right now. Thus, he didn't seem to suspect that someone was following him along the way. He robbed anyone he saw and even flirted with a few beautiful female cultivators along the way. Mu Qianzong could not help but roll his eyes. What kind of people were these? How could such people become deity realm experts? Although he looked down on Du Zhu, Mu Qianzong could already confirm that the person he was following was the poison expert by Lin Feng's side. In the end, Du Zhu entered the mountain range where Lin Feng had set up the formation. Mu Qianzong hid in the outer regions and saw Lin Feng resting in the mountain range. Mu Qianzong was extremely cautious. He did not enter the mountain range. He only observed in the dark. Very good. Little brat, wait for your death. Mu Qianzong secretly crushed a few jade talismans. At the same time, Mosei Tianzuan, Jun Tiandi, and Mo Zixi received Lin Feng's message. They quickly rushed towards the southern desolate lake. Mu Qianzong continued to hide. That guy is too cautious. He didn't come in. What should we do now? Du Zhu frowned slightly and said. Lin Feng smiled and said, I already guessed that Mu Qianzong would not enter the mountain range easily. He would wait in the outer regions. Thus, I set up a void teleportation formation. If he doesn't come in, I'll teleport him in. Ha ha ha, you're really good. You've thought of everything. Du Zhu smiled. Lin Feng activated the void teleportation formation. Although the void teleportation formation emitted very weak waves of energy, Mu Qianzong still sensed it. Thus, when he felt the strong waves of energy, Mu Qianzong's face suddenly changed. Oh no, I've been tricked. They purposely lured me here. Mu Qianzong's face darkened. He wanted to tear open the void teleportation formation and leave. For a strong cultivator like Mu Qianzong, tearing open the void teleportation formation and leaving was a very simple matter. However, since Lin Feng had planned to use the void teleportation formation to trap and kill Mu Qianzong, he had already calculated everything. He had set up a void teleportation formation to seal the void teleportation formation. If Mu Qianzong wanted to tear open the void teleportation formation, he would first have to break through his void teleportation formation. This was much more difficult than tearing open the void teleportation formation. Mu Qianzong did not manage to tear open the void teleportation formation and was teleported into the mountain range. Lin Feng smiled at Mu Qianzong and said, Territorial Lord Mu, long time no see. How have you been? Mu Qianzong looked at Lin Feng sinisterly and said, Boy, do you think that you can kill me just because you teleported me into the void teleportation formation? I know that you have extraordinary skills, but you only have 20,000 years of life left. You don't have enough life left to burn. You can't use any of your divine powers. You don't pose much of a threat to me. Even if you have a level 7 ethereal god helping you, you can't kill me. Ha 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 ha. Lin Feng suddenly laughed and said, Mu Qianzong, you think too highly of yourself. Today, I'll kill you and let you know how stupid your idea was. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng's hands formed a series of seals. Thousands of seals were sent into the void teleportation formation. Loud, rumbling sounds could be heard. It was earth-shattering. Many people were alarmed, and many cultivators flew over from all directions. Look, it's the Poison Region's Lord Mu Qianzong. Hey, who are the other two people? It looks like they're going to fight Mu Qianzong. They dare to fight Mu Qianzong? Is this a battle of the gods? That black-robed cultivator should be a godly state expert. Who's the other boy? He's so young. Isn't he courting death by participating in this battle? Many people exclaimed. Although Lin Feng was the 13th region lord, this was the southern wilderness region. Moreover, his rise had been too short, so no one knew who Lin Feng was. When everyone saw that Lin Feng was also participating in this battle, they naturally did not think that Lin Feng would be able to survive. Roar. The roar shook the heavens and the earth. One of the mountains turned into an evil dragon. One of the mountains turned into dust. One on the left and one on the right, they bared their fangs and brandished their claws at Mu Qianzong. What kind of technique is this? How did two mountains turn into two ferocious beasts? Many people looked at each other in dismay. They were extremely shocked and moved. That boy is an expert in void teleportation formations. Is that why he's participating in this battle? Many people muttered in their hearts. Duzu shouted, Mu Qianzong, I'm going to devour your poison source today. Once I devour you, my cultivation will recover quickly. 9 Demons Portrait. Out. Lin Feng shouted and took out the 9 Demons Portrait. At the same time, the Death God armor covered his entire body. Isn't the 9 Demons Portrait the most precious treasure of the Dragon Gate region's region lord? Could that cultivator be the region lord of the Dragon Gate region? Lin Feng. What? He's the region lord of the Dragon Gate region? The region lord of the Dragon Gate region is only in his 20s. Rumor has it that the region lord of the Dragon Gate region is indeed a young man, but I thought that he was only relatively young compared to the other 12 region lords who have cultivated for millions of years. I always thought that the region lord of the Dragon Gate region would have cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years. I didn't expect him to be only in his 20s. Many cultivators exclaimed in shock. Lin Feng's name was like thunder to everyone's ears, but they had never seen him before. Now that they saw Lin Feng, they were deeply shocked. He was too young. Could he fight against a god in his 20s? If he cultivated for a few hundred years, wouldn't he be able to kill a godly state expert easily? Chapter 1462. With the rise of Lin Feng, there were many legends about Lin Feng in the banished world. Some said that he was the reincarnation of a god. Some said that he was possessed by an old monster. Some said that Lin Feng was not human, but a demon with 3 heads and 6 arms. Some even said that he was only 8 years old. Many cultivators naturally didn't believe the various versions of the story. After all, what they heard was false, and what they saw was true. Lin Feng was the same. He rarely believed in these so-called rumors. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not believe it. That was why everyone was so shocked when they saw that the area master of the Dragon Gate region was a young cultivator in his 20s. Boom! The battle broke out. Lin Feng controlled the 9 demons painting and attacked Mu Qianzong. On the other hand, Du Zhu created an endless amount of poisonous fog that covered the sky and enveloped Mu Qianzong. The evil dragon breathed out a dragon's breath that covered the sky, drowning Mu Qianzong. Chu Wu spat out beams of death light that swept towards Mu Qianzong. Lin Feng made use of the terrain to transform the evil dragon mountain range and Chu Wu mountain range into the evil dragon beast and Chu Wu mountain range, which was equivalent to having 2 more immortal state experts to help him. They were 4 strong cultivators attacking Mu Qianzong alone. Although Mu Qianzong was strong, he was now surrounded and attacked from all sides. He was continuously defeated. Bang! Under the joint attack of Lin Feng, Du Zhu, the evil dragon, and Chu Wu, Mu Qianzong was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. 4 against 1. This battle's disparity is too great. Many people shook their heads. Now that Mu Qianzong was surrounded, The situation was obviously not good. Lin Feng sneered. Mu Qianzong, now you know how it feels to be surrounded? Mu Qianzong said coldly, Kid, do you really think that I have no way to deal with you? Today, I will let you know how powerful I am. With that, Mu Qianzong waved his right hand. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 figures appeared in a flash. These were actually 3 puppets. It was just that the 3 puppets that Mu Qianzong had summoned were a little strange. They were actually formed from poison and were not made of flesh and blood. These are the 3 poisonous puppets I obtained in the past. Each one of them has the strength of the first sky of the empty god layer. With these 3 puppets, I can delay you until Mo Sheng, Celestial Emperor Jun, and Mo Zixi arrive. Then you'll die, said Lin Feng calmly. Mu Qianzong grinned hideously as he controlled the 3 poisonous puppets with his mind, charging towards Lin Feng, Evil Dragon, and Chu Wu respectively. Mu Qianzong would personally deal with Du Zhu. Because Du Zhu was also proficient in using poison, Mu Qianzong was worried that Du Zhu would have a way to deal with his 3 treasures. After looking at the 3 poisonous puppets, Lin Feng knew that Mu Qianzong must have had a fortuitous encounter to be able to obtain such powerful poisonous puppets. Lin Feng wondered what kind of legacy this guy had inherited. These poisonous puppets must have been refined by a poison Dao expert. Mu Qianzong's rise was probably closely related to the legacy that he had inherited, although the 3 poisonous puppets were only at the first sky of the empty god realm. They were extremely strange. They did not have a real body and were formed from poison. Even if they were destroyed, they could quickly regenerate. Lin Feng destroyed the poisonous puppets that attacked him a few times, but the poisonous puppets managed to regenerate successfully. This made Lin Feng speechless. However, Lin Feng immediately thought of the swallowing sky jar. Although the poison puppet was demonic, it was not a living being in essence, but a magical treasure. Since they were magic treasures, could the swallowing sky jar swallow the 3 poisonous puppets? Thinking of this, Lin Feng quickly took out the swallowing sky jar. But the swallowing sky jar was activated by Lin Feng and released a strong devouring power that enveloped the poisonous puppets that were attacking him. The strong devouring power started to devour the poisonous puppets. The poisonous puppets struggled violently, trying to break free from the devouring power of the swallowing sky jar. However, the swallowing sky jar unleashed its power and directly swallowed the poisonous puppets. Then, the swallowing sky jar forcefully cut off the connection between Mu Qianzong and the poisonous puppets. After the first poisonous puppet was taken away, Mu Qianzong suffered a backlash and could not help but let out a painful cry. He roared like a madman. Lin Feng, you little bastard! How dare you take away my poisonous puppets? I'm going to kill you. Mu Qianzong was furious. After pushing Du Zhu back, he charged towards Lin Feng. Du Zhu sneered and said, Your opponent is me. Du Zhu quickly rushed in between Lin Feng and Mu Qianzong and blocked Mu Qianzong's path. Lin Feng continued to control his swallowing sky jar to devour the other 2 poisonous puppets. The poisonous puppets were extremely demonic. After devouring and refining them, it was equivalent to having 3 more immortal state guards. The other 2 poisonous puppets could not escape the fate of being devoured by the swallowing sky jar. In the end, the other 2 poisonous puppets were also devoured by the swallowing sky jar. After the 3 poisonous puppets were devoured by the swallowing sky jar, Mu Qianzong suffered 3 backlash, and his battle strength was greatly reduced. Du Zhu raised his right hand, and the poisonous fog rolled as he sent another palm strike towards Mu Qianzong. Kill! Shouted Lin Feng furiously, and threw himself at Mu Qianzong. At the same time, the evil dragon and Chu Wu also rushed towards Mu Qianzong. The evil dragon's huge tail whipped towards Mu Qianzong. Chu Wu waved his huge claws towards Mu Qianzong. Lin Feng used the first part of the great reincarnation art, Ancient Time Rush. Ancient Time Rush. It took away one's lifespan. It made one's life grow old instantly. The 4 strong cultivators surrounded Mu Qianzong. Mu Qianzong was attacked from both sides and was exhausted. Bang! Lin Feng's punch landed on Mu Qianzong's body and sent him flying. Then Mu Qianzong's body began to age rapidly, and his strength was quickly depleted. What's going on? What's wrong with my body? Mu Qianzong looked at his aged body in horror, a look of horror on his face. What happened? Many people looked at Mu Qianzong in horror. At that moment, an old cultivator said, "Could it be the legendary Great Reincarnation art? I saw an introduction to the Great Reincarnation art in a Taoist book." The first part of the Great Reincarnation art recorded a peerless technique called Ancient Time Rush. It is said to be able to take away a cultivator's life. The Great Reincarnation art is ranked 4th among the 3,000 Great Tao. It has been lost for a long time. How did Lin Feng learn it? Lin Feng is so young. It's definitely not a coincidence that he could become the lord of a region. He's too terrifying. Many people were talking about Lin Feng. They were all astonished. Everybody looked at Lin Feng in awe and veneration. "Kill him while he's weak," Lin Feng shouted, and took the lead to attack Mu Qianzong. Chapter 1463. It was the best opportunity to kill Mu Qianzong. Lin Feng was very experienced, so he knew that. The 9 demons painting descended from the sky. At the same time, Lin Feng used the 9 slashes of the demon Great Emperor and attacked Mu Qianzong. Holy Poison Palm. The poison ancestor unleashed a powerful mystic skill. As he struck out with his palm, waves of destructive power gushed out from the heavens and earth. Illusionary silhouettes appeared behind Duzu. Those silhouettes were the souls of the poison cultivators who had died. Those poison cultivators had all been incredibly strong when they were alive. They had become saints and ancestors. They had been invincible. Even though those poison cultivators had died, their souls were still indestructible. Now, the power of the origin spirit was summoned by the poison ancestor to bolster his battle prowess. The poison ancestor's attack could be said to be earth-shattering. The evil dragon began to chant the incantation of the dragon clan, and a vast illusory image of the dragon world appeared. It descended from the sky, suppressing the world and destroying the sky. Its might was truly terrifying and shocking. Chu Wu was the king of beasts. He roared, and millions of beasts appeared in the sky. They moved towards Mu Qianzong. The momentum of the attacks from the 4 experts was truly terrifying to the extreme. Many people were horrified and even overwhelmed with shock. Is Mu Qianzong going to die? If a leader dies, the great world of exile will be in chaos. The other leaders will definitely try to take over the territory of the poison cultivators. Many people were talking about Mu Qianzong's death. It wasn't as simple as losing a god. Mu Qianzong was the leader of the poison cultivators. He had controlled the poison cultivators for millions of years. If he died, the poison cultivators would lose their leader. Without a leader, the poison cultivators would be like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Nobody would mind sacrificing themselves. "You want to kill me? I'll drag you down with me," shouted Mu Qianzong furiously. He knew he was going to die, so he was going crazy. Mu Qianzong's body started burning. He was burning his own original strength to increase his fighting abilities. Mu Qianzong wanted to kill Lin Feng before he died. Mu Qianzong displayed his invincible might and blocked the attacks of Lin Feng and the others, as well as the suppression of the 9 demons portrait. Then, he rushed towards Lin Feng. F***CK. Even if you want to die, don't drag me along. Lin Feng summoned the four ferocious cauldron and quickly hid inside it. Then he shouted, "Mu Qianzong, I'll kill you today." Roar, roar, roar. The four ferocious cauldron was activated, and four ferocious beasts were drawn on it. Qiong Qi, Tao Tai, Hundun, and were all revived. The four ferocious beasts bared their fangs and brandished their claws as their roars shook the heavens. Whoosh! The four ferocious cauldrons soared into the air, slamming into Mu Qianzong. Bang! That heavy blow landed on Mu Qianzong's body, and all the bones in Mu Qianzong's body were broken. Burst! Mu Qianzong had completely lost his mind. He had chosen to self-destruct and drag Lin Feng down with him. The self-destruction of a god was terrifying. The four ferocious cauldron was blown away. Even though Lin Feng was hiding inside the four ferocious cauldron and wearing the death god's armor, his bones were still broken. If it had been someone else, they would have died already. But Lin Feng's body was too strong. He activated the immortal body and recovered. "Poison origin, I'll swallow it. Don't waste it," shouted Du Zhu. He opened his mouth and inhaled. Du Zhu swallowed the poison origin that filled the air. Lin Feng flew out of the four ferocious cauldron. Leader Lin is fine. Many people were shocked. Even though Lin Feng was hiding in the four ferocious cauldron, the explosion of a god's self-destruction could have killed Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was fine. It was beyond everyone's expectations. Lin Feng waved his right hand, and the evil dragon and Chu Wu turned back into two mountains and reappeared in the forest. He found Mu Qianzong's spatial ring. It was a leader's spatial ring. There must be many good things in it. But now wasn't the right time to check it out. After Du Zhu absorbed Mu Qianzong's poison origin, Lin Feng and Du Zhu left. The news that Mu Qianzong, the leader of the poison territory, had been killed by Lin Feng spread quickly on the island. Then, the news spread quickly. This was definitely a piece of news that would shock the entire exiled world. A domain lord had actually fallen. Mu Qianzong died tragically. He was forced to self-destruct. Mu Qianzong is dead. The poison territory is like a dragon without a leader. The other territories are going to divide the poison territory. Many people were talking about it. Lin Feng reunited with Wang Zhongming's clone. Lin Feng immediately sent his clone back to the Dragon Gate region to mobilize an army to attack the poison territory. At this time, they had to dispatch troops as soon as possible so that they could seize more territory. Then, they had to build more temples. After the other domain lords found out about this, they hurriedly sent out orders to gather their elite troops and enter the poison region to divide it up. Jun Tian-di also gave the same order. He ordered the 9 generals under him to take charge of this matter. Then he went to the primitive island. Jun Tian-di reunited with Mosei Tianzuan and Mo Zixi. The three of them looked gloomy. Lin Feng is getting stronger and stronger. If we don't kill him, we will be the ones to die. Jun Tian-di said in a low voice. Mosei Tianzuan said, "I know Lin Feng the best. He will definitely send an expert to the Dragon Gate region to take over the poison territory. Therefore, he only has one god with him. I guess that he will send his clone back. I will use a secret technique to increase Wang Tianyi's cultivation level to the god realm at the cost of his lifespan. This way, we will have 4 gods on our side. This time, we must seize this rare opportunity to kill Lin Feng." "Okay." Jun Tian-di and Mo Zixi nodded. Crazy demon life reducing great technique. Mosei Tianzuan's hands kept forming seals. Seals after seals were sent into Wang Tianyi's body. Wang Tianyi was actually very strong. He was only half a step away from breaking through to the God realm. Moreover, he was a Taoist of the Tianji sect. His Taoist heritage was very powerful. Therefore, Wang Tianyi's methods could even fight with Nihility God realm cultivators. However, Mose Tianzuan was still not satisfied with Wang Tianyi's strength. That was why he used this secret technique. Wang Tianyi now had 60,000 years of lifespan. Mose Tianzuan gave Wang Tianyi a month of lifespan. The remaining lifespan was all used up. Wang Tianyi's cultivation level temporarily rose to the peak of the Nihility God realm. Chapter 1464. In the depths of the desolate island was an ancient mountain with a ridge that extended for more than 15 kilometers. Golden rays of light shot out from the mountain peak. The golden light was exactly the same as the light coming from little Yao Yao's body. Many people wandered around here. There were also people who wanted to enter, but they failed. There were powerful restrictions around the mountain that prevented people from entering. The sacred mountain. Someone saw a stone tablet. It was extremely ancient and about 10 meters tall. Tao Qi flowed from it. Is this the sacred mountain? What does it mean? Many people muttered to themselves. They felt that this mountain must be extraordinary. The greatest secret is probably hidden in the holy mountain, said Lin Feng. Someone said. Many people nodded in agreement. The sacred mountain was hiding a great secret. However, no one knew what that secret was. Only those who entered the mountain would know. To be able to hide this island for hundreds of millions of years. I can imagine how terrifying the person who did all this must have been. Someone said with a frown, could there be some heaven-defying legacy in the sacred mountain? Asked another cultivator. Many people were trying to guess what could possibly be in the sacred mountain. Not long after, someone saw something shocking. A little girl appeared in the sacred mountain. She looked to be about 6 or 7 years old and was wearing a snow-white dress. She looked like a celestial being. She let out a clear laugh that sounded like silver bells. She looked like a celestial being who didn't belong to the mortal world. Big sister. Little Yao Yao blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at the little girl. Lin Feng was also shocked. He looked at the little celestial being. Why is there someone in the sacred mountain? Many people were puzzled. They were shocked. Little girl, hurry up and come out. Big brother has some candy for you. Someone tried to lure the little celestial being out. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. The cultivator who had taken out the candy was clearly a middle-aged man, but he had the nerve to call himself Big Brother. How could he be so shameless? However, the little celestial being had no intention of coming out. She entered the depths of the sacred mountain and disappeared. Big sister left. Little Yao Yao called out. Lin Feng looked at Du Zhu and asked, "What do you think?" Du Zhu frowned. There are restrictions on the sacred mountain that prevent divine sense from infiltrating experts. I wonder if that little fairy is a human or a demon. Big brother, let's go look for the big sister. Little Yao Yao blinked her big eyes and said she wanted to enter the sacred mountain to find that big sister. Lin Feng replied, "Let's wait and see. We can't go in yet." Boom! At this time, a terrifying aura filled the air. The magic lotus rose into the air and flew over from afar. The magic lotus, the holy artifact of the Sky Devil race. That remnant soul of the Sky Devil race is still alive. It's said that he recovered a lot of his strength a long time ago, and he's now as strong as many area masters. There's such a thing? It is said that cultivators from the Heavenly Demon clan have extremely tenacious vitality. It seems that this is true. Seeing the appearance of the magic lotus, many cultivators whispered to each other. Boom! At the same time, more experts appeared one after another. Celestial Emperor Jun walked over from the left, his killing intent enveloping the area. Mo Zixi walked over from the right, a cold smile on his face. Wang Qianni had blocked the path to the sacred mountain. On both the left and right sides of the path facing the sacred mountain, there were cultivators appearing above. Mo Zixi, Wang Qianni, Celestial Emperor Jun has also appeared. He surrounded those cultivators with Moze Tianzuan. Who are those cultivators? Someone asked, puzzled. That's the area master of the Dragon Gate region, Lin Feng. Could the little girl in his arms be the daughter of the Lunar Emperor? I heard that Lin Feng snuck into the Divine Tower of Darkness and rescued the Lunar Emperor's daughter. It seems that the rumors are true, a cultivator said. No wonder Mo Zixi intervened. Many people revealed a look of sudden realization. Lin Feng, you won't be able to escape today. Moze Tianzuan's sinister voice rang out from the magic lotus. Celestial Emperor Jun sneered. It's time to end this. Mo Zixi also said coldly, Kid, your fate was sealed the moment you chose to go against the Divine Tower of Darkness. Only Wang Qianni remained silent. He was no different from a walking corpse now. Du Zu's expression turned gloomy as he said, This is going to be troublesome. He has a child with him, and his deity realm clone has left. It won't be easy to deal with these people. Just as Du Zu had said, it wouldn't be easy to deal with these 4 experts. Little Yao Yao said, Big brother, let's go find little big sister. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Why did little Yao Yao keep talking about finding little big sister? Although little Yao Yao was precocious, she was still young. She wasn't even 5 years old, so she couldn't explain some things. Du Zu said, The sacred mountain is related to her father. Let's go and see if we can enter the sacred mountain. Lin Feng nodded. This was the best way. Moze Tianzuan's side had an absolute advantage in terms of strength. In addition, Lin Feng had little Yao Yao with him. Once the battle started, if little Yao Yao was hit, she might die at the hands of Moze Tianzuan and the others. Lin Feng naturally didn't want to fight with Moze Tianzuan and the others at this time. What he needed now was time to refine the 3 poison puppets he had obtained from Mu Qianzong. If he could refine the 3 poison puppets, Lin Feng's battle strength would greatly increase, and it would be much easier to deal with these people. Whoosh! Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao and rushed towards the sacred mountain. Du Zu and Wang Zhongming followed closely behind. You want to enter the sacred mountain? You're courting death. Moze Tianzuan sneered when he saw Lin Feng and the others rushing towards the sacred mountain. In Moze Tianzuan's opinion, Lin Feng and the others were courting death. The sacred mountain's restrictions were too strong. They were so strong that they made their hair stand on end. However, Moze Tianzuan and the others soon realized that something was wrong. Lin Feng and the others weren't attacked by the restrictions. Little Yao Yao's body emitted a golden light that wrapped around Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng and the others weren't attacked by the restrictions. Instead, they entered the sacred mountain smoothly. What's going on? Moze Tianzuan and the others were dumbfounded. Many of the surrounding cultivators were also puzzled. Just now, the Lunar Emperor emitted a golden light that wrapped around them. That's why they weren't attacked by the restrictions. Could this place be related to the Lunar Emperor? Said a cultivator. His words caused a huge commotion. Nobody knew where the Lunar Emperor had passed away in the past. But now, it seemed that the sacred mountain was really where the Lunar Emperor had passed away. It's a pity that we can't enter the sacred mountain. Many people were extremely anxious, including Moze Tianzuan and the others. A great emperor's legacy, great emperor's imperial weapon, and even a lifetime's worth of wealth were buried there. Who wouldn't be jealous? Everyone, let's seal this place. Lin Feng and the others will come out anyway. When the time comes, we'll join forces to kill them. The Lunar Emperor's treasures will definitely be yours. You can consider it. Many people were moved by Celestial Emperor Jun's words. With 4 godly cultivators and the help of the cultivators, killing Lin Feng and the others would be a piece of cake. In the world of cultivators, it was very common to kill and steal treasures for cultivation resources. Many people immediately said, "Thank you for thinking so highly of us. When the time comes, we'll definitely help you." Ha ha, that's great. Congratulations on making the right choice, said Celestial Emperor Jun with a smile. Chapter 1465. Inside the Holy Mountain, it was quiet. It was very quiet here, and there were no traces of vicious beasts. There wasn't even the sound of insects or birds chirping. Little sister. Little Yao Yao was very happy and called out to her fairies softly. Big brother, I want to run to find little sister myself. Little Yao Yao said. Lin Feng put her down. Then little Yao Yao ran excitedly, looking for her fairy. Lin Feng followed behind little Yao Yao, afraid that she would be in danger. Little sister, where are you? Little Yao Yao is here to find you. Little Yao Yao called out. However, little fairy did not appear. After the little girl was tired from running, she said with a bitter face, "Where's little sister? Why didn't little sister come out? Does little sister hate? Little Yao Yao?" Lin Feng said, "Little sister must be tired, so she went back to sleep." Is that so? Little Yao Yao is also tired. Big brother, hug me. Little Yao Yao opened her arms. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao in his arms. At this time, Duzu had already walked around the holy mountain and returned. Lin Feng asked, "Did you find anything?" Duzu said, "I didn't find the whereabouts of that little fairy, nor did I find anything special." The holy mountain was not particularly big. Could it be that little fairy was hiding in an extremely hidden place? Even now, Lin Feng was still not sure whether little fairy was a human or a demon. After all, this island had been hidden since the primordial era and only appeared after billions of years. And a little fairy suddenly appeared on the holy mountain that was surrounded by layers of restrictions. This was indeed too strange. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao and walked around the holy mountain. He used the dragon searching art, wanting to find a place where little fairy could hide or where the lunar emperor buried himself. However, Lin Feng searched the entire holy mountain but did not find any clues. Could it be that our guess was wrong? The lunar emperor did not bury himself here at all, and that little fairy was just an illusion that we saw? The poison ancestor voiced out the doubts in his heart. Lin Feng thought for a moment and said, "Little fairy is indeed strange. However, I think that the moon emperor might have buried himself in the sacred mountain. It's just that we haven't found any clues yet." At night, little Yao Yao, who was sleeping in Lin Feng's embrace, suddenly got up. "What's wrong, little girl?" Lin Feng sat up and asked, "Big brother, I think I heard someone calling me, asking me to go over." Little Yao Yao said. Lin Feng was shocked. There was actually such a thing. He asked, "Do you know where the person who called you wants you to go?" Little Yao Yao replied, "I know. He said that he would tell little Yao Yao." "Big brother will carry you there," Lin Feng said. Little Yao Yao nodded. Then Lin Feng picked up little Yao Yao. "Over there." Little Yao Yao pointed into the distance. Lin Feng followed little Yao Yao's direction. Du Zhu and Wang Zhongming followed behind Lin Feng. Finally, they entered an ancient forest. In the depths of the ancient forest, there was a cliff. "It's down there," little Yao Yao said. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao to the side of the cliff. Du Zhu said, This is a no-fly zone, so we can't fly. If we want to go down, we have to climb down. However, we don't know how deep this cliff is. Lin Feng said, "Look, there are many vines growing on the cliff. If we follow the vines, we should be able to reach the bottom of the cliff. Du Zhu, go down and scout. If there's any danger, come up quickly. If there's no danger, let me know and we'll go down as well." Du Zhu nodded, grabbed the vines, and quickly dived down the cliff. About an hour later, Du Zhu's voice came from below. "There's no problem. Come down." Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao, grabbed the vines with one hand, and quickly rushed down the cliff. Wang Zhongming followed closely behind and also rushed down the cliff. An hour later, Lin Feng and Wang Zhongming also arrived at the bottom of the cliff. They saw many strange vines growing at the bottom of the cliff. These vines were thick and big, and they covered the entire cliff. At the bottom of the cliff, there was a huge cave. The cave's passage was long and extended deep into the cave. Du Zhu led the way in front. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao. Wang Zhongming was in charge of bringing up the rear. They walked deeper into the cave. The deeper they went, the wider the cave became. Finally, they entered a cave that was thousands of square meters in size. This cave was also densely covered with vines that crawled all over the walls. In the middle of the cave, there was a platform. On the platform, there was a green sarcophagus. A green sarcophagus is one of the most mysterious sarcophagi. In the primordial era, there was a saying that a green sarcophagus buried an ancient emperor. It's very likely that the lunar emperor is buried here. Du Zhu explained, "Is it where Daddy is buried?" Little Yao Yao's tears trickled down her face. She was not even 2 years old when she was sealed. However, as the daughter of an emperor, the young Yao Yao could already remember some things. As she grew older, the memories in her emperor blood gradually recovered. Thus, little Yao Yao knew many things about the primordial era, and she also knew many things about her father, the lunar emperor. This was because these were the memories contained in the bloodline inheritance. Lin Feng did not console the crying little Yao Yao. It was normal for a child to cry when seeing the place where her father was buried. Once she was done crying, she would feel better. "Are we going to open the sarcophagus?" Wang Zhongming asked. Du Zhu said, "Of course. The lunar emperor's legacy, treasures, and wealth are inside. If we don't take it, someone else will take it sooner or later." Lin Feng agreed. He said, "Du Zhu, go and open the sarcophagus." Du Zhu nodded and walked over to the sarcophagus. He clasped his hands together and began to pray. "Lunar Emperor, we're opening the sarcophagus, not because we want to offend your corpse. Please don't blame us. Your death has nothing to do with us. If you really want to take revenge, then take it out on the creatures in the other world. Don't come looking for us." Lin Feng did not think that there was anything in this world that Du Zhu was afraid of. Du Zhu was usually so carefree. Lin Feng could not help but laugh when he saw how cautious Du Zhu was. Du Zhu pushed the lid of the sarcophagus open. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, Wang Zhongming, and little Yao Yao all looked into the sarcophagus. However, their expressions suddenly changed. This was because the sarcophagus was empty. There was nothing at all. Why is it empty? Isn't this a little too strange? Wang Zhongming was puzzled. Lin Feng and Du Zhu furrowed their brows in deep thought. "Who are you people? How dare you trespass on the forbidden grounds? Don't you know that trespassing on the forbidden grounds will only lead to death?" Suddenly, a hoarse and cold voice rang out from the belly of the mountain. Lin Feng felt goosebumps all over his body. What kind of existence was this? He had not sensed that there were other creatures in this place. Chapter 1466. "Who are you? Why are you hiding in the dark?" Lin Feng asked solemnly, as if he was facing a great enemy. I've never hidden. The voice sounded again. This time, Lin Feng could clearly hear where the voice was coming from. He looked to his left and saw a human head on one of the walls. Crack, crack. Next, the sound of bones grinding could be heard. A withered, ghost-like being walked out from the rock wall. His body seemed to have fused with the rock wall. Now that he had left the rock wall, he was still not used to it. His body swayed slightly as he walked, as if he could fall to the ground at any time. However, Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate such a mysterious being. That was because this existence had lived for tens of thousands of years. Who are you? Lin Feng asked. The guardian of the green coffin, the withered, ghost-like being replied. He then continued. It's been so many years since anyone has been able to come here. I really can't bear to kill you, but this is a forbidden area. You have to die. Boom. A terrifying aura emanated from the ghost-like being's body. Lin Feng had never felt such a terrifying aura before. It was too strong. In front of this being, he felt as weak as an ant. Not good. Du Zu's expression changed. He was also powerless against the coffin guardian. Your fate is to be buried here and sleep forever. The coffin guardian attacked, sending a palm towards Lin Feng and the others. The power of this attack made Lin Feng feel a thick aura of death enveloping his body. Buzz. Just at this critical moment, from within little Yao Yao's body suddenly shot out a golden light. The golden light shone on the guardian of the sarcophagus. The guardian said in shock, "This is the bloodline power of the Lunar Emperor. You are the Lunar Emperor's daughter." The guardian of the sarcophagus stopped attacking. Its old and tired eyes looked at little Yao Yao in Lin Feng's arms. The sarcophagus guardian's body was too frightening. Little Yao Yao was clearly frightened. She buried her head in Lin Feng's chest, not daring to look at the sarcophagus guardian. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the coffin guardian stop. He quickly said, "That's right. Little Yao Yao is the daughter of the lunar monarch. Senior, are you acquainted with the lunar monarch?" The guardian of the sarcophagus said, "I've been guarding this cyan sarcophagus since ancient times, waiting for the great emperor who is about to pass away. This is my destiny." Lin Feng was shaken. The sarcophagus guardian's words contained too much information. Since ancient times, this meant that the guardian of the sarcophagus had lived for far too long. Perhaps even he had forgotten how long he had lived. His destiny was to guard this cyan sarcophagus. Du Zu had said before that the cyan sarcophagus was the sarcophagus where the great emperor was buried. Did that mean that this mysterious guardian of the cyan sarcophagus had seen more than one great emperor? Had he personally buried more than one great emperor? Even little Yao Yao's father, the lunar emperor, had been buried by him? However, Lin Feng suddenly had a very strange thought. Looking at the coffin protector in front of him, Lin Feng had the feeling that the coffin protector's fate was a bit like a curse. Lin Feng said, "I once saw a cursed cultivator who turned into a fire crow and was unable to leave the cave. Senior, you've been guarding this cyan sarcophagus since ancient times. Could it be that you've been cursed as well?" "Yes, I've been cursed. This is my destiny." The guardian of the sarcophagus sighed. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, what has cursed you?" Lin Feng suddenly thought of the cursed celestial masters. Celestial masters were not allowed to meet each other. If they did, they would definitely suffer misfortune. This was also a curse. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know if the celestial masters had other curses. "What has cursed me? Let me think." The guardian of the sarcophagus murmured. "Ah." Suddenly, he let out a miserable shriek. It was heart-wrenching and extremely tragic. "I can't remember. I really can't remember. Every time I try to remember, I feel incomparable pain." The guardian clutched his head and screamed. Du Zhu said, "It seems that your memories have been erased." The cursed fire crow also seems to have had its memories erased. Lin Feng frowned as he pondered this matter. This was too strange. Curse. What kind of power was that? Why? In this world, there were cursed experts everywhere who had lost all their memories. Then they had an endless lifespan, but this lifespan, it was an eternity that kept repeating the same thing. There are many things that I can't remember clearly, the guardian said, and finally sighed. Lin Feng said, "Perhaps it's good that you can't remember. This way, it won't be too painful." Perhaps, the guardian muttered to himself. Lin Feng asked, "Did the lunar emperor fall here?" "The moon emperor was the last great emperor I talked to. He came here. He didn't have much time left. I told him to lie in the coffin. That was his destiny. He was going to turn into ashes. That was the best fate. He wouldn't be enslaved after death. The great emperors who died of their own accord couldn't escape the fate of being enslaved," said the moon emperor. Lin Feng was horrified. The information revealed by the guardian was too frightening. Great emperors would be enslaved after falling? Could it be that the emperor's soul was enslaved? Du Zhu and Wang Zhongming were also dumbfounded. Obviously, they were also shocked by this news. Ever since the innate life form war, the emperor was the strongest existence in the world. Who could enslave the emperor's soul? The emperor was enslaved? What's going on? Lin Feng asked. The guardian said, "After the emperor dies, his soul doesn't disperse. There are Yin soldiers who will take the emperor's soul to the underworld." Underworld? Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb. He asked, "Is there really an underworld? Where is the netherworld?" The guardian said, "The innate life forms first divided the world into the 3 realms and 6 paths. These 3 realms and 6 paths are above the 3 realms, and the underworld is one of the 3 realms. It's just that the underworld is fleeting, other than those who came from the underworld who know how to go there. No one else has a way to go there. It's the kingdom of the dead, the paradise of the dead." Lin Feng took a deep breath, trying his best to digest the guardian's words. The undying world, the continent of the 9 states, the exiled world. These should be the 3 realms, right? The 3 realms above the 3 realms were the immortal world, the underworld, and the Xuanhuan chaos world. The 6 paths were the hell path, the hungry ghost path, the beast path, the human path, the Azura path, and the heavenly path. The 3 realms belonged to the real world. The 6 paths were the order of heaven and earth. However, they were the order of heaven and earth above the 3 realms. For example, the various laws of heaven and earth were derived from the heavenly path. One of the 6 paths, Lin Feng asked, "Did the lunar emperor pass away in his coffin?" "No, the lunar emperor didn't enter the coffin." The guardian said. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. "He didn't enter the coffin? If the lunar emperor passed away outside the coffin, doesn't that mean his soul was taken away by the Yin soldiers of the underworld and then enslaved by those unknown existences?" Chapter 1467. That might be the case, but I didn't see anything. The coffin protector said. Lin Feng asked curiously, "Why is that? Didn't the lunar emperor die here?" "He left and entered the starry sky. He said that he wanted to do something in the final moments of his life." Lin Feng asked curiously, "Did he say what he was going to do?" "I asked him before, but he didn't tell me. However, I saw him staring blankly at the sky. I don't know what he was thinking." Lin Feng hadn't expected the lunar emperor to leave the exile realm. However, the lunar emperor didn't have much time left. Had he already died in the starry sky? The lunar emperor's sword, the orthodoxy of the lunar emperor, the treasures of the lunar emperor. Lin Feng suddenly had the urge to beat his chest. This was too depressing. The lunar emperor had left with everything. Were those treasures destined to be lost in the endless starry sky? Lin Feng suddenly thought of something else. The coffin protector had stopped because of little Yao Yao. Of course, it was because of the lunar emperor. However, was there a need for the coffin protector to give face to the lunar emperor? There was no need at all. After all, he didn't have any relationship with the lunar emperor. Unless the coffin protector had reached some kind of agreement with the lunar emperor, that was why the coffin protector had given face to the lunar emperor. When he thought of this, Lin Feng asked, "Senior, I have something I don't understand. Can you explain it to me?" The coffin protector said, "Let's hear it." Lin Feng asked, "Senior, did you reach some kind of agreement with the lunar emperor?" The coffin protector said, "That's right. I reached an agreement with the lunar emperor. He will bring me a message and search for my clansmen. In return, I will give something to his daughter when she comes here one day." Lin Feng was stunned. The lunar emperor could predict the future? Wasn't this too inconceivable? However, the emperors themselves were unimaginably terrifying existences. Therefore, it wasn't too unbelievable that the lunar emperor could predict what might happen. Lin Feng asked, "What did the lunar emperor leave behind for little Yao Yao?" "I'm Yao Yao's guardian now, so just give it to me." The coffin protector stretched out his right hand, and a jade pendant appeared in his hand. "What's this?" Lin Feng muttered. Of course. He had hoped that the lunar emperor would leave the lunar emperor's sword and little Yao Yao, but reality was cruel. "This might be an important keepsake," the coffin protector said. Lin Feng nodded and took the jade pendant. Lin Feng said, "Master, are you interested in having an agreement with me?" "Make an agreement?" The coffin protector looked at Lin Feng. "Senior, don't you want to find your own people? The Moon Emperor has probably been dead for billions of years, but your people haven't come looking for you. It's obvious that the Moon Emperor couldn't help you find your people. Why don't you ask me to help you? Maybe I can find them. I might be able to find them," Lin Feng said. The lunar emperor roamed the starry sky in the past. He has a lot of connections. He's qualified to make an agreement with me. As for you, the coffin protector sneered and didn't continue. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his nose. He felt rather awkward. He was being looked down upon. Lin Feng said, "The lunar emperor also started out weak and became strong. I'll definitely have the same day. It's only a matter of time before I become an emperor." The coffin protector said, "Every time an emperor is born, as the guardian of the Cyan coffin, I can sense their existence. Since the end of the primordial age, I haven't sensed the appearance of a new emperor for hundreds of millions of years." Lin Feng rubbed his chin and said, "Why is that?" The coffin protector said, "Maybe there's something wrong with me, so I can't sense the appearance of a new emperor. If there's nothing wrong with me, then there's only one possibility. Since the primordial age, no one has become an emperor. I'm more inclined to the second possibility." Lin Feng said, "So what if no one has become an emperor? I'll break through to become an emperor for you." If it were so easy to break through to become an emperor, there would be emperors everywhere. The coffin protector said, "I'll let you see my bloodline." Lin Feng activated his bloodline. The coffin protector glanced at him and said in surprise, "Immortal divine blood, a top-tier bloodline. Your talent isn't bad." However, before he could finish speaking, the coffin protector's eyes suddenly widened. He had discovered another bloodline hidden in Lin Feng's body. You, how is this possible? You're actually a descendant of that race," exclaimed the coffin protector. Although he had been cursed, he had been too powerful back then, so he had only lost a portion of his memories. However, many of his memories remained. That was why he had been able to recognize Lin Feng's sovereign bloodline. Lin Feng asked, "Do you think I have a chance of becoming an emperor?" The coffin protector said, "It's indeed possible. You're now qualified to come to an agreement with me. Tell me about your clan first." Lin Feng said, the coffin protector said, "I don't remember where my clan is, but I do remember that it was filled with 7-colored divine trees. It was an extremely beautiful place. I hope that you can find my clan members and have them come to the exile world. I have the greatest secret of my clan here, and I want to tell them." Lin Feng smiled. "Why don't you just tell me? I'll tell your clan members after I find them." The coffin protector couldn't help but roll his eyes. "Can I tell you my clan's secret?" "Forget it, if you don't want to tell me." Lin Feng waved his hand. "But if I help you find your clan members, what will you get in return?" "I have a forbidden artifact here that can be used 5 times. I can give it to you." The coffin protector said, "Forbidden artifacts aren't that valuable." Lin Feng said, the coffin protector said, "This forbidden artifact is an imitation of the purple lightning hammer. The purple lightning hammer is the Grand Mist Saint's most precious treasure. It's on the same level as Pangu's cleaving heaven and earth axe, Nuwas Mountain and River Map, and Primordial Origin Saint's 3 treasures jade scepter. Although this forbidden artifact is just a replica and only has 5 uses left, its power surpasses the Lunar Emperor's sword, 9 Demons diagram, Demon Emperor's bell, Xianyuan sword, and other top-grade Emperor weapons." "Ah, it's that powerful? Hurry up and give it to me," Lin Feng said excitedly. Chapter 1468. This is the forbidden weapon, the purple lightning hammer. The sarcophagus guardian waved his right hand, and a ball of purple lightning appeared. It floated in the air and intertwined with the power of lightning. Amidst the lightning, a purple divine hammer floated up and down. The hammer was emitting waves of destructive energy. This was the purple lightning hammer, a treasure that could shock the world. Unfortunately, it's just a forbidden weapon made from the imitation of the innate spiritual treasure, the purple lightning hammer. If only it was the real one. Lin Feng said with a smile. The sarcophagus guardian said, "The real purple lightning hammer might have been destroyed in the battle between innate life forms, right? Of course, it might not have been destroyed, but it must have been lost in a place where no one can find it. It might even have been lost in the past. Innate life forms were very terrifying. They controlled the power of the past, present, and future. A treasure like the purple lightning hammer could indeed be lost in the past. This way, no one would be able to find it. Some Xiantian life forms would even bury their bodies in the past so that they wouldn't appear in the present or the future. This was a heaven-defying ability. Even the great emperor had only scratched the surface." Lin Feng grabbed the forbidden weapon, the purple lightning hammer, and stroked it lovingly. It really was a peerless divine treasure. He didn't know if the forbidden weapon could kill a divine flame realm expert. He couldn't wait to go out and fight with Mose Tianzuan, Jun Tiandi, Mo Zixi, and Wang Tianyi. He would use the purple lightning hammer to kill these people and steal their treasures. Especially the magic lotus. This treasure must be obtained. You've already accepted the item, and the agreement has been reached. I won't make you swear an oath because there's no need for that. I've always believed in a principle that a man can't live without trust. If you don't even keep your promise, then your future achievements are destined to be limited, the sarcophagus guardian said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Don't worry. When I'm strong enough, I'll definitely help you find your clansmen." The sarcophagus guardian nodded, and then his body merged into the stone wall again. He no longer spoke, as if he had become a part of the stone wall. Lin Feng placed little Yao Yao down and found a place to form a blood bond with the purple lightning hammer. Unfortunately, this heaven-defying treasure was a forbidden artifact. There were still 5 uses left. Once a forbidden artifact was used up, it would self-destruct. Therefore, Lin Feng had to cherish this treasure. Unless it was a last resort, he could not use it casually. Even the combined 9 devils picture was not as powerful as the purple lightning hammer. From this, one could see how powerful this treasure was. After spending an entire day, Lin Feng finally succeeded in refining the purple lightning hammer. Du Zhu was also in seclusion. He was refining Mu Qianzong's poison source. Lin Feng could sense that Du Zhu's cultivation was rapidly recovering. For an ancient existence like Du Zhu, who had once cultivated to the Boundary Emperor realm, it was not difficult for him to recover his strength. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could find enough sources that he could devour to recover his strength. Perhaps the only thing that prevented Du Zhu from recovering his strength quickly was that it was difficult to find sources. After devouring Mu Qianzong's poison source, Du Zhu's cultivation had recovered to the 10th heaven of the Void God realm. He was also only 1 step away from breaking through to the Divine Fire realm. After Lin Feng formed a blood bond with the purple lightning hammer, he took out the 3 poison puppets. Seeing that Lin Feng was about to refine the poison puppets, Du Zhu said, "You can use the great poison technique to refine the poison puppets. At the same time, when you're refining the poison puppets, you can send a strand of your divine consciousness into the poison puppets. This way, the poison puppets will be like deity realm clones. They will be under your control and move freely. However, the only thing to worry about is that if the poison puppets are killed, your divine consciousness will be destroyed and your soul will suffer a backlash." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Everything has its risks. However, it's not that easy to destroy the poison puppets. After all, the poison puppets are still at the Void God realm." Lin Feng was actually very fond of the 3 poison puppets. Perhaps the only weakness of the poison puppets was that it was difficult to advance. This was also the biggest difference between the poison puppets and deity realm clones. Deity realm clones could cultivate and evolve infinitely like cultivators. However, the poison puppets could not do this. This was because the poison puppets were a type of humanoid puppet. Under normal circumstances, if a humanoid puppet wanted to advance further, it would need to find even more precious materials and refine them again. However, these materials were very difficult to find. If Lin Feng wanted to continue increasing the strength of the 3 poison puppets, he would need to find more precious materials to refine them. He planned to wait until he returned to the Dragon Gate region before asking someone to help him find the materials to refine the humanoid puppets. Lin Feng followed Du Zhu's method to refine the poison puppets, then sent a strand of divine sense into their bodies. After around 2 days, Lin Feng successfully refined the 3 poison puppets. Lin Feng opened his eyes and stretched. He was very happy that he had successfully refined the 3 poison puppets. "Big brother, go find little big sister." When little Yao Yao saw that Lin Feng had woken up, she grabbed Lin Feng's hand and whispered to him. Lin Feng asked curiously, "Did she appear again?" Little Yao Yao nodded and grabbed Lin Feng's hand. She then walked towards the exit. When they arrived outside the cave, Little Fairy looked over from afar. "Little big sister." Little Yao Yao was very excited, and she chased after Little Fairy. Little Fairy looked at Little Yao Yao in confusion, then disappeared without a trace. "What's going on?" Lin Feng frowned. This was very strange, and he could not understand it at all. Little Fairy was clearly not far away, so why had she disappeared without a trace? Little Yao Yao came back sadly. Lin Feng took her in his arms and hugged her. Big brother, big sister, left again. "You don't like little Yao Yao, do you?" asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng comforted her. "Of course not. Little big sister must have left because she has something to do." Little Yao Yao was pleasantly surprised. Really? Lin Feng dotingly rubbed little Yao Yao's head. Of course. Only then did little Yao Yao become happy. Lin Feng went to ask the sarcophagus guardian about little fairy. She does not belong to this world. The guardian of the coffin didn't say much, but he said something that Lin Feng didn't understand. If she did not belong to this world, then why had she appeared here? The guardian did not continue to answer Lin Feng. It was obvious that it did not want to tell him anything more. Perhaps it was related to some topic that the guardian did not want to talk about. Lin Feng tactfully did not pursue the matter. In the end, he left the cave with Du Zhu and Wang Zhongming. Little Fairy appeared again as Lin Feng and the others were walking out of the sacred mountain. Her large, lively eyes looked at little Yao Yao. "Goodbye, little big sister." Little Yao Yao waved at Little Fairy. Little Fairy looked at little Yao Yao, a pensive expression on her face. Chapter 1469. "Look, they're out." Some cultivators pointed at Lin Feng and the others who had just come out of the holy mountain. "Very good. They're finally out." Mose Tianzuan, Celestial Emperor Jun, Mo Zixi, and the others sneered. "Little Yao Yao, wait for me here. I'll be back soon." Lin Feng smiled. "Are you going to beat up the bad guys?" Little Yao Yao asked. Lin Feng nodded. "That's right. I'm going to beat up the bad guys." "You have to be careful then." Little Yao Yao said worriedly. Lin Feng said, "All right, I'll be very careful." He asked Du Zhu and Wang Zhongming to look after little Yao Yao while Lin Feng walked out of the holy mountain. "Did you come out alone to die?" Celestial Emperor Jun looked at Lin Feng coldly, his voice filled with killing intent. "You're the ones who are going to die, but you're still so pleased with yourselves. You think you got me? What a joke." Lin Feng sneered. Mose Tianzuan laughed strangely. "Lin Feng, you're still as arrogant as ever. You're about to die, but you still dare to be so arrogant in front of us. You don't know what's good for you." Lin Feng sneered. "If you want to be arrogant, you have to have the ability to back it up. I have enough. So, what if I'm arrogant? I'm not like you. You obviously don't have the strength to back it up, but you're still acting like an idiot. Lin Feng, I'll put up with you for now. Let's see what kind of expression you'll have when you're captured. I really want to see you kneeling on the ground, wagging your tail and begging for mercy." "Ha ha ha ha." Mose Tianzuan laughed. Mo Zixi waved his hand and said, "Everyone, let's attack together and kill this brat." As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Zixi, Mose Tianzuan, Celestial Emperor Jun, and Wang Tianyi began to prepare powerful attacks. "Kill him! Kill him!" The densely packed cultivators around him roared loudly. Now, these people were also emboldened by evil. For the treasures of the lunar monarch, he decided to join forces with the 4 immortal state warriors to kill Lin Feng. In any case, as far as they were concerned, Lin Feng was dead for sure. Of course, there were also many people who chose to watch the battle from afar and did not participate in the battle. 4 godhood cultivators and nearly 2,000 powerful cultivators are attacking Domain Lord Lin. Even if Domain Lord Lin has 3 heads and 6 arms, he won't be able to escape this time. Indeed, the disparity between them is too great. But Leader Lin isn't an ordinary cultivator either. Maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve that we don't know about. Let's just wait and see. Many cultivators who were watching the battle from afar whispered to each other. Boom, boom, boom. The overwhelming attacks gathered together, and the attacks of the 4 godly state warriors were added together. The magic lotus also flew over and suppressed Lin Feng. This was too terrifying. He was simply unstoppable. If the Buddha blocks the Buddha, kill the Buddha. Ha 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 ha, very good. Since you want to kill me, I'll send you to hell today. Lin Feng roared. A light flashed in his right hand. Next, Lin Feng took out the purple lightning hammer. Purple lightning intertwined. Crackling sounds could be heard. Every time the purple lightning hammer was activated, it could be used for an hour. After an hour, it would need to be activated a second time. However, the purple lightning hammer was such a powerful forbidden weapon that it could be activated once to end the battle. Lin Feng infused his magic power into the purple lightning hammer. Immediately after, the purple lightning hammer emitted waves of destructive energy. The purple lightning formed a light shield that enveloped Lin Feng. Lin Feng's body was surrounded by purple lightning. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into the legendary god of thunder. Lin Feng held the purple lightning hammer with both hands and smashed it towards the crowd. Endless power of thunder poured down. The powerful lightning instantly destroyed the attacks of countless cultivators. Even the magic lotus was sent flying. Previously, the guardian of the sarcophagus said that the purple lightning hammer was more powerful than the Tine Emperor sword, 9 demons painting, Demon Emperor bell, Xian Yuan sword, and other top-tier emperor weapons. Lin Feng was still in disbelief. However, he finally believed that the purple lightning hammer could destroy more than 2,000 cultivators and 4 godly state experts. It could also send the heavenly demon clan's sacred item, the magic lotus, flying. Only this point. This was enough to prove the power and terror of the purple lightning hammer. What weapon is that? It's so powerful. Many of the spectating cultivators were dumbfounded. The power displayed by the purple lightning hammer shocked too many people. The purple lightning hammer was indeed too terrifying. The cultivators who were fighting Lin Feng were pale with fright. They no longer had the mood to continue fighting with Lin Feng. They turned and ran. "Where do you think you're going?" said Lin Feng while smiling coldly. He raised his hammer and smashed it again. Bang! The hammer smashed down, and instantly 300 to 400 cultivators were smashed into meat paste. "It's too terrifying. We can't block it at all. Is this a supreme treasure that Regent Lord Lin obtained from the sacred mountain?" Many cultivators gulped, secretly rejoicing that they didn't attack. Otherwise, they might have ended up like those cultivators who were killed. A forbidden weapon. That should be a forbidden artifact. However, isn't that forbidden artifact a little too powerful? An old cultivator said. He was very knowledgeable and could tell that the purple lightning hammer was different from ordinary weapons. Such a powerful forbidden weapon. I wonder what kind of weapon was it made from? Someone wondered. However, no one knew that innate spiritual treasures didn't manifest in the mortal world. Those who knew about innate spiritual treasures were at least heavenly gods. Haha, a bunch of trash. Die. Lin Feng laughed loudly and continued to attack the crowd with the purple lightning hammer. A few hundred people were killed with a single strike. "Regent Lord Lin, please spare our lives. We were all bewitched by Jun Tiandi and the others. We didn't have any intention of harming you. Please, Regent Lord Lin, give us another chance." Many people cried out in fear and begged loudly. "You people want to kill me and steal my treasures. Now that you're exaggerating, I won't spare your lives. Go to hell and see King Yama," said Lin Feng while smiling coldly. His purple lightning hammer kept smashing down on the ground. Bang, bang, bang. Before long, more than 2,000 cultivators who had surrounded Lin Feng were killed. "Go, go, go, go!" Mose Tianzuan and the others were pale with fright. The purple lightning hammer was too powerful. They didn't dare stay any longer. The 4 of them entered the magic lotus and rode the magic lotus, trying to tear open the void and escape. "You can't escape. You're all going to die." Lin Feng roared and smashed the purple lightning hammer on the magic lotus like a thunder god. The powerful force sent the magic lotus flying, and a terrifying shockwave surged into the magic lotus. Mose Tianzuan, Jun Tiandi, Mo Zixi, and Wang Tianyi, who were hiding in the magic lotus, coughed up blood. Chapter 1470. You won't be able to escape. Today, only death awaits you. Lin Feng sneered again and again. The purple lightning hammer in his hand moved again and smashed towards the magic lotus. Clang! A loud sound rang out. The magic lotus was sent flying again. Mose, Tianzuan, and the others who were hiding inside the magic lotus had blocked most of the attack because of the magic lotus. However, the power of the purple lightning hammer was too strong, so the power of the shock was still very terrifying. Therefore, they were once again seriously injured. Their faces were as pale as paper, and they were constantly coughing up blood. The weapon in that brat's hand is a forbidden weapon. Although this weapon is powerful, there is a limit to the number of times it can be used. Let's leave for now and wait for the power of his weapon to dissipate before we come back to kill him. Mose Tianzuan shouted loudly. This was indeed the best way. If they stayed to fight against Lin Feng, even if they had the magic lotus, it was very likely that they would die. Therefore, Mose Tianzuan and the others were no longer in the mood to continue fighting with Lin Feng. Heavenly Emperor Jun and Mose Tianzuan nodded with gloomy expressions. They also knew that Mose Tianzuan's suggestion was the best choice for them at the moment. As for Wang Tianyi, he had already become a walking corpse. He was expressionless and silent. Mose Tianzuan said, "Everyone, we need to burn our lifespan to activate the magic lotus and use the magic lotus to escape." Right now, Wang Tianyi no longer had any lifespan to burn, so Mose Tianzuan, Heavenly Emperor Jun, and Mose Tianzuan had to burn their lifespan to activate the magic lotus. Each of them had burned 100,000 years of their lifespan. Although these people had a long lifespan, burning 100,000 years of their lifespan was incomparably painful. After all, Heavenly Emperor Jun and Mo Zixi had a lifespan of about 3 million years. They had already lived for more than 1 million years, so 100,000 years of lifespan was not a small number for them. This amount of lifespan was not something that could be used up casually, but now, in order to escape, no matter how reluctant they were, they had to burn their lifespan. On the other hand, Mose Tianzuan did not mind burning 100,000 years of his lifespan because the lifespan of the celestial devils was much longer than that of other races. The three of them had each burned 100,000 years of their lifespan, giving them a total of 300,000 years of lifespan. Therefore, the power of the magic lotus was greatly increased. At this moment, Lin Feng wielded the purple lightning hammer and charged over once more, smashing down on the magic lotus. Demon Lotus was sent flying again and again with 12 strikes. Originally, Mose Tianzuan and the others were hoping that after burning their lifespan, the magic lotus would be able to block the purple lightning hammer's attack and allow them to escape. But only now did these people know. It turned out that they were just indulging in their fantasies. The purple lightning hammer was too powerful. Even if each of them burned 100,000 years of their lifespan to activate the magic lotus, they still wouldn't be able to resist. Do I have to continue burning my lifespan? Mo Zixi's expression was incomparably gloomy. Burning 100,000 years of his lifespan had already caused him incomparable pain. If he continued to burn his lifespan, it would be the same as cutting off his flesh. Celestial Emperor Jun's expression was also incomparably gloomy. At this moment, Lin Feng's attacks did not stop bombarding the magic lotus with attack after attack. The magic lotus shook violently, and the powerful vibrations caused the few of them to cough out blood. The situation was very bad. Mose Tianzuan's eyes darted around. Celestial devils were originally extremely cunning. Now, Mose Tianzuan had a different idea. Now, Mose Tianzuan felt that even if he continued to burn his lifespan to activate the magic lotus, he would not be able to resist the purple lightning hammer. Therefore, he turned his attention to Celestial Emperor Jun and Mo Zixi. He secretly communicated with the magic lotus. Suddenly, a powerful force wrapped around Celestial Emperor Jun, Mo Zixi, and Wang Tianyi before throwing them out of the magic lotus. Celestial Emperor Jun roared, "Mose Tianzuan, you dare to trick us?" Mo Zixi cursed bitterly. "Mose Tianzuan, you'll die a horrible death for tricking us like this." The only one who didn't say anything was Wang Tianyi. This was because Wang Tianyi was under Mose Tianzuan's control. He didn't have his own thoughts, nor did he have any emotions. Mose Tianzuan's order to Wang Tianyi was to delay Lin Feng. Mose Tianzuan laughed and said, "The two of you, I'm really sorry. Now that the calamity is upon us, please help me block it for a while. When I escape, I'll pay my respects to you in the future." Boom! At this time, Lin Feng was already attacking with his purple lightning hammer. Mo Zixi and Celestial Emperor Jun had no choice but to block the purple lightning hammer's attack. Otherwise, only death awaited them. The magic lotus flew into the distance. It can't be, right? Mose Tianzuan betrayed his allies. Celestial Emperor Jun, Mo Zixi, and Wang Tianyi are in trouble now. They might die in Lin Feng's hands. The Celestial Demon Clan has always been cunning. Mose Tianzuan betrayed the Golden Crow Sage before, but Celestial Emperor Jun and the others still cooperated with Mose Tianzuan. Now that they've been betrayed by Mose Tianzuan, they only have themselves to blame. Many people started discussing in low voices, while others sneered and looked at Celestial Emperor Jun, Mo Zixi, and Wang Tianyi with schadenfreude. The magic lotus betraying Celestial Emperor Jun and Mo Zixi seemed like an accident, but it was actually reasonable. This was in line with the Celestial Demon Clan's style. However, Mose Tianzuan had already betrayed his allies twice. Presumably, no one in the great exiled world would cooperate with Mose Tianzuan again. Although Lin Feng felt that it was a pity that Mose Tianzuan had escaped, however, he believed that the next time he saw Mose Tianzuan would definitely die. What Lin Feng needed to do now was to kill Celestial Emperor Jun, then occupy a large amount of territory and build temples. This was the most important thing. Boom! Lin Feng's terrifying hammer smashed down. Wang Tianyi's cultivation was the weakest, so he was the first to suffer. He was directly killed by Lin Feng's hammer. As for Heavenly Emperor Jun and Mo Zixi, they were sent flying. It was unknown how many bones in their bodies were broken. Celestial Emperor Jun shouted, "Territorial Lord Lin, we can negotiate." There's no need for that. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He wielded the purple lightning hammer and attacked again. Mo Zixi's expression was gloomy. He began to chant an incantation. Clearly, Mo Zixi wanted to use a curse to deal with Lin Feng. Lin Feng had suffered a great loss in the godly Dark Tower. Clang, clang, clang. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the feeling that an invisible and intangible strength was bombarding the purple lightning which was protecting him. It was probably Mo Zixi's cursing strength. Not good. Mo Zixi's expression changed. Lin Feng sneered. "I have the lightning barrier released by the purple lightning hammer to protect me. Your curse has no effect on me now." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng wielded the purple lightning hammer and attacked again. Curse blade. Soul, splitting magic-breaking halberd. Facing Lin Feng's attack, Mo Zixi and Celestial Emperor Jun both took out their divine weapons and used them to block Lin Feng's attack. Clang, 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 Lin Feng continuously smashed down 36 times with his hammer. The divine light of the two divine artifacts dimmed, and their power was greatly reduced. Lin Feng took the opportunity to rush in front of Mo Zixi and Celestial Emperor Jun. Another 2 hammers smashed down. The power was enough to destroy heaven and earth. These 2 hammers smashed onto Mo Zixi and Celestial Emperor Jun's bodies. Their bodies couldn't withstand such a terrifying attack, and were directly smashed into pieces by the purple lightning hammer. The 2 deity realm experts were smashed to death by Lin Feng's purple lightning hammer. Chapter 1471. Dead. They're all dead. That's the leader of the Tianzhou region, and the leader of the Divine Tower of Darkness. They died just like that. Lin Feng killed the leader of the Poison region, Mu Qianzong. Now, the leader of the Tianzhou region has also died at his hands. 2 of the original 12 leaders have died at his hands in such a short time. The Divine Tower of Darkness has been around for a long time. It's ancient and powerful. Mo Zixi has mastered the art of curses. He's even more powerful than many of the other leaders, but he also died at the hands of Lin Feng. Lin Feng is too scary. How long has it been since he established the Dragon Gate region and killed so many deities? Countless people in the surroundings were talking about it. Everyone had a shocked expression on their faces. Now, everyone respected and feared Lin Feng. Lin Feng took Mo Zixi's and Heavenly Emperor Jun's source energies, and left with Du Zhu and the others. Now that Heavenly Emperor Jun was dead, it was a good opportunity to take over the Tianzhou region. Soon, the news of the Tianzhou region's leader, Heavenly Emperor Jun, and the leader of the Divine Tower of Darkness, Mo Zixi, being killed by Lin Feng quickly spread throughout the banished world. Lin Feng had killed the leader of the Poison region, Mu Qianzong, not long ago, and now he had killed Heavenly Emperor Jun and Mo Zixi. It was unbelievable. As for Wang Tiany's death, not many people paid attention to it. Wang Tiany was only a quasi-god, and many people knew that he had been enslaved by Moze Tianzuan. Wang Tiany was nothing compared to Mo Zixi and Heavenly Emperor Jun. Tiandu City, one of the 10 ancient capitals of the southern wasteland region. Lin Feng carried little Yao Yao, Du Zhu, and Wang Zhongming to the ancient city. Lin Feng was very tired after the continuous battles and the journey. He planned to rest for a day before buying an 8-winged flying lion vulture to head to the Dragon Gate region. The 8-winged flying lion vulture was the fastest flying beast. It could travel 1,000,000 miles in a day and fly at its maximum speed for half a month. Even a deity realm expert wouldn't be able to hold on for so long. Now, countless cultivators in the Sky Capital City were talking about Lin Feng. After killing the Poison region's lord, the Tianzhou region's lord, and the Dark Divine Tower's lord, Lin Feng's reputation soared. Perhaps it wasn't particularly appropriate to use the word famous anymore. It should be described as ferocious. Right now, Lin Feng could be said to have shaken the world with his ferocity. When many people mentioned the name Lin Feng, they couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. Many people even used that person to replace Lin Feng's name, not daring to call Lin Feng by his full name. He was afraid that he would break a taboo. Naturally, there were also many cultivators who worshipped Lin Feng, killing 2 region lords and the tower master of the Divine Dark Tower. Many people were excited just thinking about it, let alone doing it personally. After resting for a day, Lin Feng took Yao Yao, the poison ancestor, and Wang Zhongming to the market where ferocious beasts were sold. There was a sea of people here, and it was very lively. The sound of bargaining could be heard everywhere, and it was deafening. Region Lord. Lin, a cultivator who came to buy a flying beast, saw Lin Feng walking towards him, and his voice trembled slightly. He quickly bowed to Lin Feng and retreated to the side with his companions to make way for Lin Feng and the others. The market, which was originally deafening, suddenly became so silent because of the 3 words, Region Lord Lin, that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. Shock, fear, respect, worship, admiration. There were all kinds of gazes. In particular, many beautiful female cultivators saw that the legendary Region Lord of the Dragon Gate region, Lin Feng, was actually so young and handsome. All of them looked at Lin Feng affectionately and hoped that he would see them and take them into his harem. Lin Feng nodded to the cultivator and then left with little Yao Yao. Is Region Lord Lin nodding to me as a form of greeting? Oh my God, Region Lord Lin actually nodded to me as a form of greeting. Am I dreaming? The cultivator said excitedly. Many cultivators looked at that cultivator with envy because, in their opinion, Lin Feng nodded to that cultivator as a form of greeting, which was enough to brag about for the rest of his life. After buying an 8-winged flying griffin in the market, Lin Feng and the others sat on this flying beast. Roar. It was accompanied by an earth-shaking roar. The 8-winged flying griffin soared into the sky and disappeared in an instant. That's Region Lord Lin? Isn't he too young? Wow, not only is he young, but he's also very handsome. Isn't it said that Region Lord Lin is a 3-headed and 6-armed demon god? He's actually a young and handsome cultivator. Damn, those rumors are really unreliable. This Region Lord Lin looks very kind. I really didn't expect such a kind person to kill 2 region lords and the Tower Lord of the Divine Dark Tower. This Region Lord Lin doesn't look down on us because of his high status. I think he must be a good person. Those high and mighty region lords won't look at us properly. The whole market became lively. Lin Feng's appearance caused a great commotion. Even the city lord of the divine capital and the higher-ups of the various major powers were alarmed. Many people came to the market to visit Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had already left. 10 days later, Lin Feng returned to the Dragon Gate region. Du Zhu, you will personally lead the army and conquer all the territories of the Tianzhou region that originally belonged to Emperor Jun. If you see any other region that dares to fight with us for territory, don't be polite. Kill them without mercy. Lin Feng said, Yes, master. After receiving the order, Du Zhu went to organize the army and set off for the Tianzhou region. Very quickly, the clone sent someone to report to Lin Feng about the situation of the Dragon Gate region's army that had entered the Poison region. Because the Dragon Gate region and the Poison region were adjacent to each other, it was easy for the Dragon Gate region to mobilize an army to enter the Poison region. Therefore, the Dragon Gate region's army directly entered the Poison region and occupied 15 of the 120 ancient cities. The Golden Crow Sage personally led the Great Sun region's army and occupied 32 ancient cities of the Poison region. The Tianzhou region's army occupied 18 ancient cities of the Poison region. The other regions also occupied quite a few ancient cities of the Poison region. There were even some stronger ancient cities in the Poison region that were independent because there were some top clans in those ancient cities. Those clans had some terrifying foundations. So even many region lords did not attack those ancient cities. When the cultivators of the Tianzhou region heard that the region lord, Emperor Jun, had been killed, they gave up on the territory they occupied in the Poison region and retreated back to the Tianzhou region. The Divine Realm clone personally led the army and wanted to quickly occupy the 18 ancient cities that originally belonged to the Tianzhou region. However, The Golden Crow Sage also sent people to occupy the ancient cities that were originally occupied by the cultivators of the Tianzhou region. As a result, there were several large battles between the two sides. But later on, the Golden Crow Sage personally took action. The Divine Realm clone was not a match for the Golden Crow Sage, so the Dragon Gate region suffered heavy losses. Now, the Divine Realm clone sent people to deliver the battle report to ask for help from Lin Feng.